Happy Tuesday to you. I'm gonna. Good morning, Sherry. How are you? Good to see you. Glad to see you guys popping on in here. Lots to talk about today. Um, what's up, Candy Corn? How are you? What's up? Hey, Kim. What's up, Miss Slim Shady, Penny GF? Good to see you guys. That did not update, did it? It did not, and it should have. Give me a second, guys. Crazy work that did not update, but it did not. There we go. Hello, Colleen. What's up, Amy? Hey, Conchita. Hey, Catsmandu. How is everybody? What's up, Skywriter Jeff? Feel like I haven't seen you in a long time. Good morning, Ella. What's up, Chris? How are you? Good morning, Abood. How is everybody feeling? What's up, Headhunter? Good to see everybody rolling in here. It's been a busy morning already. What's up, Red Hot? So we do have some Supreme Court decisions that are in here. Of the ones that have come out so far, there's only really been one that I've been most interested in, but we'll see if any of the others come out today. Let me just refresh real quick, see if there's anything different happening. I don't think that there is, other than those. There are 5 decisions that are already out so far. I don't know that there are going to be any others out anytime soon that I'm interested in. When they do come, I'm sure I will hear. What's up, DJ? Good to see you. How is everybody doing? Y'all good? Are you breathing? Let's see. Okay. All right. Hey, Celia B. What's up, Invisible String? How is everybody? Bless you. Bless you. Bless you, Bella. All right. So I got a little bit to talk about. I really want to focus on midterms, folks. Like, this is just the place where I am at. Appreciate you, Tech Lady, for the bear. Good morning, David. What's up, Marky? Hello, Siberia. I feel like I haven't said that name in a minute. What's up, Blessed and Grateful? Dear Dilgrave, good to see you guys. Good morning, Letty. Good to see you as well. Okay, good girl. Do you want some yogurt? You want a go-gurt? A cotton candy go-gurt? After yogurt. You got to give it just a minute. What's this? It's us. What is this? This is a live stream where we are discussing politics, policy, midterms, Supreme Court decisions, all of those different types of things. So that's what this is. So, what's up, Tammy Anderson? Good to see you. Hey, Kat. In case I didn't say hello already. All right, so folks, listen. Lots to have a chat about. What I wanted to start doing today is keeping a count as to how many days we have until the midterms. Good morning, Ronald. Good to see you. I think it's really important that we keep this top of mind while we look at everything else that's going on. I feel like as we, what do I say? Yogurt. You can get a yogurt out of the box. I'll get it for you. If you get it to me, I'll open it for you. Hey, Sherry. Appreciate that. It Zerks. What was I going to say? Bring me the box and I'll get it for you. Yeah, 134 days between now and November 3rd, 2026. So not what about White Lives Matter? What about them, Truth Seeker? What about it? You don't see any white people up there on the picture? I do. What is it about this picture that made you want to say, what about White Lives Matter? What about it? Okay. I think that, yeah, I mean, that's the question that I'm legitimately asking is what about this image? Okay, so what does that mean exactly? What's your point? Where is there anything that says don't care about white people? Good morning, Jamie. Right, ominous, it doesn't. Okay, here's this. Good morning, Terry. The picture at the bottom, it doesn't say don't care about white people. There are white people in the image. You know what I mean? Appreciate it, Zurix. Where does it say only care about a certain race? It doesn't say vote progressive if you only care about them. It doesn't say that. There's no exclusion here. I mean, you can keep trying to reach for that, but there's no exclusion. 1 second, ominous, please. I'm not ready to open the panel just yet. You got to give me a second. There you go. Right? Mark, white people are included on the white people are included in the image. Do you think that there are no elderly white people in the United States of America? Do you think that there's no disabled white people in America? Do you think that there are no LGBTQIA individuals that are LGBTQ? Oh, that reminds me. Dang. Thank you for helping me catch my typo, though. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. I most certainly do. Update my little graphic real quick. Good morning, Queen. I mean, you're trying really hard, Truth Seeker, but I think you're falling short of the place where you wanted to land with that verbiage. Right? That's what I think. 1 second, guys. Let me update this graphic and then I can open up the panel. All right. There we go. I can fix my graphic now and we will be golden. You bet I voted for Kamala Harris. I bet you might have bigoted racial views. Since we're betting, I bet you might be a bigot. Could be wrong, but it's a pretty solid guess, I think. Since we're betting, I think the odds are in my favor. Just offering you that. No? All right, let's update this graphic. And then I'll go over the guidelines. Then we're going to open up the space. We got a lot to talk about today, a whole lot. And it is super important that we get to all of it. All right, so here we go. Boom, boom, boom. Appreciate you guys. Hey, China. What's up, Jody? Good morning, Lisa. Doesn't mean don't judge Black and brown people. What, I mean, is there anything on the picture that says anything about judging? I don't think that there's anything on this graphic that says anything about judgment. Judging or not judging, I don't think is represented on the graphic. I don't believe so. I'm trying to find out. No, Carlos, I did not. It's because I changed. It is because you guys are wilding out today. All right. So listen, can I handle the room, guys, and all the folks? Can I handle it for just a second? Hold on a moment, folks. Take a deep breath, for goodness sake. Let's do that. All right. So, folks, if you are new to me, please put a 1 in the chat. If you are new to me, please put a 1 in the chat. Very quickly, I only ask for 4 things in this space, okay? I ask for people to be respectful. I ask for people to not use slurs of any kind. If you use a slur of any kind, you will be muted and you will be booted from this space. Number 3, don't spam my comments. It's not good for the algorithm. It's not good for conversation. It's just not helpful at all. Welcome, Lisa. Glad to see you. And then number 4, don't type in all caps. And the reason why this is super important is because number 1, all caps are reserved for my moderators. And number 2, I actually have folks that are part of this community that are vision impaired. And so all caps are reserved for those individuals. So do not, just be respectful, right? Be respectful and be considerate of people with disabilities. If you can do those 4 things, we will get along just fine. We can have robust, varied discussions, even if they are passionate, even if we disagree. Damn, I didn't mean to do that. So no worries. Those are. I don't feel like those are hard things. If you feel like those are hard things, then this might not be the space for you. Just throwing that out there for you. Okie doke. You guys good? All right. Let's get to the business today. Folks, if I bring you up to this panel, do me a favor, put yourself on mute until I can get to you. Okay. Put yourself on mute until I get to you if I bring you up to the panel. Got it? Jamie, thanks for requesting to boost and protect. Can you please explain what is Project for the People? Yeah, I can. Give me just a second though. Good morning, girlfriend. How are you? Girlfriend, did you mean to request up? I am guessing no. Good morning, Risa. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Sheener, tell me who's excluded in what I'm saying. Who's excluded? So, so very simply, Project for the People is a people-led movement that is focused on focused on having conversations in our communities that build connection, sharing accurate information about the issues, which are healthcare, education, housing, and economic mobility. And why do you include ABC people? The need their pin. I don't know what that second sentence is trying to say. The need their pin. I don't know what you're trying to say. I would thank you, Simone. I appreciate that. I would just recommend reading what you were writing and then trying to figure out what you were trying to say. Okay. So Project for the People is focused on that. And so we are focused on ensuring that that we have a Congress that actually works for working class people, that doesn't put billionaires or corporations or foreign governments or religion above the needs of the people of the United States of America. And that would mean all people, not just a particular group of people, but everybody. And so that's what Project for the People is. And so we focus on doing that. Yeah, I'm not sure what you're talking about, Ace. They need their own category. Category of what? And I would just caution you to be mindful of your verbiage, because if you start speaking in bigoted or derogatory language, then you're probably going to end up getting muted from my space. Okay. If you don't want that to happen, then I would recommend requesting to come up to this panel, and then we can have a discussion about it. That's what I would recommend for you. Good morning, Kimberly. Good to see you. Deuce is wild. He's talking about LGBTQIA people. That's what Ace said in the other thing. So yeah. All right. So I don't see anybody having requested to come up into the box. So that's cool. We will continue to keep going, and I will share with you what was the thought process behind this graphic. Okay, the bottom line is that if you are mostly concerned with the rich, or if you are only concerned about men, if you are not concerned about if you're only concerned about cis and hetero folks, right? If those are your considerations, then you could pretty much vote any way you want to, and it wouldn't matter. Okay, but I think that if you actually care about elderly people and the ability in this country, in the United States of America, for elderly folks to be able to spend the remainder of their days in dignity, and in a lifestyle that they deserve, that at its very basic minimum meets all of their needs and gives them access to the appropriate levels of care, then voting progressive is your best bet. Because what we know is that if you're not voting progressive, there are specific pieces of legislation and policy that are coming from the GOP side of the House that are not good for the elderly, right? If you care about disabled people, this is another one where voting progressive is going to be incredibly important. Why? If you haven't seen the recent memo that just came out of the DOJ, you should. And you might want to be concerned after you read it, when they literally talk about disabled individuals being cut from services, where people help them stay in their homes and help them stay independent, and that sort of stuff. It's incredibly important, right? Hey, Billy, don't type in all caps. I literally just went over that, and it's written at the top. Do not type in all caps. I have folks in this space that have vision disabilities. Okay, so all caps are reserved for those individuals and my moderators. So be respectful of people with disabilities. Yes, ma'am. Did you eat your stuff? Yeah. Hand me that and I'll give it to you. Got it? And Billy, if you want to talk about all people, some people, no people, or whatever, right there, then you can hit that request button and I'm happy to chat with you about it. Vote progressive so you can traffic over 300,000 migrant children. There's actually nothing fact-based in your statement, and you just sound silly. You literally just sound silly, because when you are voting, you are literally voting for a particular president or members of Congress. The career individuals that run the government do not do their job based on their political leanings, right? So the people that work in children's services aren't deciding what to do with children based on whether they're Democrat, Republican, Green Party, or whatever, right? People that are working in DHS, the career individuals that their job is to run the government and ensure that the function of government continues to happen, regardless of whoever is in office. Those people are not interested in trafficking anybody. They're interested in doing the best job they can based on the systems and processes that we have. And the reality is, when we talk about both parties, right? What I would say to you is that if you have evidence of such a thing, then bring it. Because if all you're doing is regurgitating propaganda, I have zero interest in listening to you, and you will eventually get muted. Listen, folks, one of the things that I don't let you do is sit in this space and run your mouth from the chat and spread misinformation, right? I think facts are incredibly important. And I think facts are the foundation for every conversation. Like, I can respect your opinion, or I can respect the fact that you're entitled to your opinion, right? You have the right to have an opinion. It does not mean that I have to respect your opinion if your opinion is not based in fact. If your opinion is just hearsay and bullshit and partisan propaganda, I don't have to respect your opinion, and I don't have to allow it in this space. Just so we are clear. Okay? Great. Love that. So just be mindful that if I address you in my chat and I invite you to this panel and you choose not to come to discuss the thing that you are so fervently typing about in the chat, then you will eventually get muted and booted because I just don't deal with it, right? So yeah, I would just recommend that you think about that. And Dishan, come on, you can be first. So that's your invitation to the panel. Dishan, that is your invitation to the panel. So I would recommend that you accept it because eventually you will get muted. And let me tell you what I find, folks. Anybody that is coming into your space and saying all politicians are horrible, nobody represents you, voting is useless, those are people who would like for you to stay out of voting so that you have zero protections and can't get anything moved forward in your life, right? Those people are not your friend. Those people have an agenda and it is not for the benefit of the people. Got it? No, I don't, Gwen. Good morning, Existential. How are you?
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. What would you like to share this morning?
Well, I do have a question. So, like, we did have progressives in office, and I'm a leftist, so like I do agree with. I am a progressive. I'm a progressive communist. I'm still kind of figuring out a lot when it comes to politics as well. But I guess how would you rationalize the inaction of Democrats and the Liberal Party when it comes to the security of minority rights and minority equity in a country that is built upon the suppression, exploitation of those minority groups of people?
So I would ask you, when have we had a majority progressive Congress and administration? I would like, yeah. So when have we had a progressive majority in the House and the Senate, and in order to get those things passed?
Yeah, no, I'm not saying we haven't, right?
Well, but I'm asking you, when did
that was to Biden?
Hold on.
He did not codify abortion or.
Give me a second. Existential. Hold on. Listen, Biden doesn't codify anything. He's the president. Congress does that. So what I'm asking you is, when have we had a Congress where there is a progressive majority on both sides of the House to get those things happen? And I'm going to give you an example. The reason why I'm asking you that question is under the Biden-Harris administration, the Democrats put forth a resolution to eliminate the 10-year timeline. So there's a 10-year time under which laws have to be ratified for them to be added to the Constitution, right? And both times that happened, the Senate GOP blocked that resolution. Therefore, the ERA, Equal Rights Amendment, could not be added to the Constitution. So when we talk about what the lack of actions by the Democrats, my question to you would be, tell me when and what years Democrats have had the majority in the House and in the Senate to get those things done.
Well, I mean, I could say the 1890s was the last time we had like full progressives in Congress.
So is it about what the Democratic Party hasn't done, or is it about what the American people haven't done? Have the American people not showed up and voted? Just let it go. Have the American people not showed up and voted in a way that gives progressives the power to implement the things that need if we want to have everybody's protections codified?
Yeah, well,
right, Lisa,
yeah,
never.
They do have to have that majority, and I agree with you, but we can also look at Democratic states that don't necessarily have. There's still the previous lawsuit for redlining was last year in May in Massachusetts, and I think the Democratic liberal base tends to appeal to centrism. So I know people who are friends with me who might say, well, I'm not going to vote for them because I don't know how far they'll spin that line, right? You have this like core base of equality and, we have to innovate and therefore no one can be oppressed and whatnot. But then, especially during this time, I think you see a lot of Democrats and liberals that are appealing to centrism. And so they're kind of pushing back on what they once stood for and sort of coddling the far right.
So can you share with me?
How far does that line go?
Can you share with me what Democrats are pushing for centrism?
Yeah. Fetterman, we can talk
Fetterman
about.
is not pushing towards centrism. Fetterman is a Republican, and he votes that way. He's not pushing towards centrism. And Fetterman is also not, he is one vote out of the entire Democratic Party in Congress. So the vast majority of the time, Fetterman does not vote along with his party, right? So if we're going to talk about the Democratic Party as a whole, right? The Democratic Party as a whole doesn't push towards centrism.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's certain Democrats that like John Cohen, Ruben Gallego. Off the top of my head,
But so tell me what policies are centrist that they support.
I think it's more about. I'm sorry, I'm sick right now. I have the flu, so I can't really talk as I can when I'm not sick. But they, in order for them to win in their states, they have to appeal to centrism.
But I'm asking you specifically because, like, what you're doing is you're making a generalized statement, and I'm asking you to, because you named 3 or 4 different Democratic members of Congress, and I'm asking you what policy points they support that is centrist. What is their centrist talking point that is their policy? That's what I'm asking you for, because you're giving me a generality and you're naming names, but you can't tell me their policy that is centrist in nation and centrist in policy and intention.
Well, Gallego is pushing for border security plus reform. So he's sort of appealing to border security in reference to, which is not bad inherently, but what he's pushing for is a sovereignty and a society that is free from crime and relics, according to him. And I feel like that's placing an image and a label on undocumented migrants or migrants themselves. When they make up 4% of the population, they prevented 4 recessions, and they also attribute $2 trillion annually. So I don't know why we're pretending like they're somehow committing these vast majorities of crimes.
Did he say that? I don't think that he said that. I don't think that he said that they were committing vast majority of crimes. I think what Gallego's, I think what his policy says is that we need asylum reforms, which we do. I think he said we need to expand legal pathways for immigration, which we do. We don't have nearly enough legal immigration pathways in order for people to get in here. And I don't think that we have enough immigration judges, right? So if he wants us to increase the annual visas and our annual green card allotments, I think that that's a good thing, is it not?
Yeah, but I don't think that's necessarily what he's pushing for entirely.
But that's what his policy actually says. I'm looking at it. So if I'm looking at his policy, and his policy says that we need to expedite the screening process for asylum, which I think we should, right? If he wants to expand our legal avenues, increase the number of green cards that are allotted into the country, along with visa applications, and along with giving a citizen's pathway for undocumented residents and dreamers. Why is any of that negative? And especially because the things that you said, why are we acting like immigrants are criminals? He didn't act like immigrants are criminals.
Mm-hmm.
So
do you know what his 5-pillar plan, it literally says he's both pro-immigration and against immigration. How is that not centrist?
So you're taking one talking point, right? You're talking about a slogan. I don't care about a slogan. I actually want to look at the actual plan, right? And then I want to look at the actual plan and the actual policy, read what it says, and see what I do or don't agree with, right? And so the things that I literally am looking at are positives. We should increase the number of visas that are coming into the country. We should increase the number of green card allotments. We should provide a pathway to citizenship for long-term undocumented residents and dreamers. Those are things that we should absolutely do. We should absolutely expedite the screening process for asylum seekers. We should increase the number of immigration judges that we have. Why would any of those things be negative?
I don't think that's negative inherently, no. But what I'm saying is that there's
uninherently, how is it negative?
because he's leading with sovereignty and security from crime and RUDs, right? So
Nope,
he's
you're reading a
fighting-
talking point, and I'm talking about the implementation of the policy. You're giving me a talking point, and I'm giving you the actual pieces of the policy and how it would work. So what I'm asking is, how are those things that I just named that are part of his plan, how are they bad? How is, and inherently or otherwise, how is it bad to increase green card and visas? How is it bad to expedite screening for asylum? How is it bad to establish a pathway to citizenship for long-term undocumented immigrants and for dreamers? How are any of those things negative, inherently or otherwise?
Well, I mean, I kind of see it in a more broader perspective.
Right, but that's the
I
problem.
was-
That's the problem. You're speaking in broad generalities, and I'm speaking in
No,
specifics.
I have a specific point.
Okay.
So 80% of we have a migrant crisis, right? And this is
We
this
don't
is
have a
the
migrant
worst.
crisis.
We have 15 million undocumented migrants.
We don't have a, we don't, do you know how many of them, do you know when the vast majority of the undocumented immigrants in this country came here?
No, I don't.
Okay, but I do. And if you read, hold on and I'll show you, because this is a,
I was trying to make a point, but okay.
yeah, well, because, so here's the thing. If you're going to make a point that's based off a false statement, I'm going to stop you.
I haven't made it.
You did. When you said we have a migrant, when you said we have a migrant crisis, that's why I stopped you.
Well, I don't mean like not in reference to migrants like themselves, but the system that prevents them from accessing citizenship fairly and quickly in that perspective, right? I'm not talking about them like flooding the border or removing finances or job. I'm not talking about that.
Okay, state your point.
Talking about the fact that there's 15 million migrants coming from Latin America. We fund 80% of of cartels, right, of their ammunition, their weapons. And so we have to, because we have an imperial economy, so we have to uphold that economy. We can only do so by mass exploitation. And so you have predicaments where we're directly funding the destabilization in Latin America. Think of Honduras and what's currently going on with the in Roatan. So you have a position where we're funding the destabilization, right? And then we're causing a mass immigration crisis in Latin America. And then we want to focus on border security, preventing those people from accessing resources that we've stolen from them. And I don't think that's fair. I really don't.
So I think you're talking about two different things.
Well, that's why I'm talking more on a specific, broader perspective. But it's not sustainable. For how long can you exploit entire continents to, give yourself comfortability? How long is that going to work out for?
Okay, so my point is
what
that
happens when the resources run out?
So this is the point that the point that I'm making is that you are talking about two completely separate things. So if you want to have a conversation about the destabilization of other countries in the global South, I can show you. We can have that conversation. That conversation falls under foreign policy. And when we discuss the destabilization of other countries and the exploitation of their resources, that is not a Democratic or Republican issue. That is a United States of America issue and has nothing to do. Could you not interrupt? That'd be great. And it has nothing to do with one party or the other, right? That's number one. Number two, when we talk about the domestic issue of immigration policy in this country and immigration law, that is entirely something different and must be dealt with in that way. And I do not see an element of immigration law. So see, you get to be muted because you used a slur, sir. And so it matters. And it matters when we talk about having 15 million unauthorized immigrants here. It matters because of when they got here, how long they've been here, and all of that. And what I find is that most people that are having these conversations actually don't know when that is, right? And so if I were to show you, if you look at the, let me show you real quick. Because the last report that we had came out May of 2024. April. Stop.
Can
It can't.
I possibly give your perspective?
And just a second. Yeah, in just a second. Why is my mouse not wanting to find what I want?
And by the way, I do respect you completely, and I think what you're doing here is good. You're advocating for the equality of all American people, and I respect that. And your advocacy is powerful and valuable, and I appreciate
that. Thanks. Hold on one second. This is what I wanted. Ouch. Hey, Sissy, can you turn that down for me just a minute? Thank you. Do you need your inhaler? Are you good? Okay, cool. All right. So this is something that I like. So let me ask you a question. All right. Do you know how the United States of America actually defines unauthorized immigrants in this country? Existential.
Oh, hello.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was on mute.
That's okay.
Yeah, the way I understand is that a non-citizen who is in the country without any federal legal standing.
Mm-mm. So nope. So this is a
federal authorization.
Yeah, nope. This is an actual a misconception that it's really important, and it's one of the reasons why I like to bring up the it's one of the reasons why I like to actually bring up the report. So I'm looking at the Department of Homeland Security report that came out in April of 2024. And it is the estimate of unauthorized populations. And this would be from 2018 through 2022. And so one of the things that I love about this report is the first thing it does is it outlines for you the definitions. And in short, anybody that is not a legal permanent resident is unauthorized. Anybody. If you are here under DACA, if you are here under temporary protected status, if you are here as a refugee, if you are here on a visa, if you do not have legal permanent resident status, you fall under unauthorized immigrants. And there's a difference between unauthorized immigrants and undocumented. Okay, it's incredibly important that we know that. Okay, so when we talk about the unauthorized immigrant population, the total number in 2022 was 11 million. We're sitting at about 14, 15 million now. Okay, what's wild is that the vast majority of them, approximately 8.8 million, arrived here prior to 2010. So between 1980 and 1990, we had 1.5 million arrive here, unauthorized immigrants. Between 1990 and 1999, we had 3.4 million. Between 2000 and 2009, we had 3.9 million. And 2010 or later was 2.3 million. And then, of course, you have the response that we had after Title 42. So we had a surge that happened after Title 42. But not as large as what people think, because people don't know the difference between Title 42 and Title 8. And those things drastically impacted our immigration numbers from 2020 all the way through 2023. So when we talk about, we've got this crisis, we need to understand that it actually hasn't significantly done. There's been no like mass invasion of immigrants in this country, and the numbers have been pretty consistent. We experienced we experienced a global pandemic, and because we had a public policy in place for 3 years that did not have any teeth whatsoever, the numbers look more than what they are, and because people don't know the numbers and they don't know how Title 42 works compared to Title 8. They are woefully misinformed as to what that means. I think the issue that I have is one of the things that you said when you first got up here was you have friends that say, well, I won't vote progressive because I don't know how far they're willing to go. And to me, that mindset is part of the problem, right? I'm not going to vote for the slim opportunity that we might have. I'm not going to vote for the possibility that these folks are going to go far, right? I'm just going to not vote for them because I don't know if they're going to go as far as I want them to go.
Well,
And that's part of the problem.
I'll vote progressive. I'm just my friends who don't. I do though. I obviously like Democrat is harm reduction, but what I'm telling you is that when I'm referring to a migrant crisis, I'm not referring to an invasion of the country. I'm referring to the fact that we're torturing migrants and that they're being exploited in the country. 80% of all undocumented migrants, according to the American Immigration Council, and the source is titled.
I'm familiar with. I know what we do to immigrants. I'm aware.
That's the problem. Is it occurs under both administrations. 80% of migrants who are now being tortured for them being, undocumented, were brought here by companies, and they worked and they pay taxes and they can't even go to the hospital, and they're essentially trapped. And we're torturing migrants and we're committing atrocities. We bombed Venezuela, right? My parents are actually from there. My mom is from there, and we're now shipping people from Venezuela to the Congo, to the Republic of North Africa, where they're dying. A woman from Cuba.
Hold on a second. We gotta, because we're compounding a bunch of different things. Okay. The point, I want to go all the way back to the beginning of this conversation.
Democratic administrations. That's my point.
Yeah, my point is that Democratic administrations do not, number one, change law. Congress does. Yeah. So if we would like immigration policy to be different, then I guess we need to do something about Congress, which is why I said we have to 100% vote progressive. And again, when you're talking about, you are blending domestic immigration and foreign policy. And I don't want to do that. They are two separate conversations.
It's domestic policy. Well, the current immigration policies are domestic, not foreign.
Okay, so when you start to talk about
policies, pardon.
Yeah, but when you start to talk about those deportation measures and how they may or may not occur with foreign countries, that then you're talking about two different things. And there's a place where they intersect, right? There's a place where they intersect. And so let me ask you this question. What is your solution? Give me one. What is the pathway to progress where we would like to be? What's the pathway?
Well, it's a great question. I do have a few ideas. For starters, I would say we could possibly, theoretically, build a local, or like have a core community strategy, right, where we can support migrant progress by pairing, trusted local institutions like schools, clinics, workers, churches, unions even, with concrete services like language classes, job training, small business loans.
But how does that correct and fix the immigration policy? That's what I'm asking you, is how do we address immigration?
It helps those migrants, number one, stay together, right? Because they're building, they're learning language, they're learning skills. A lot of my mom, when she came here, was not really familiar with the American way of life, and she worked to, I guess, assimilate. But it would have been much easier if she had more communal support. I think we have to support. I'm very egalitarian, so I think that we have to support one another, and I think if we can do so, we could build the welcoming infrastructure that would be required to prevent this type of crisis from occurring.
So what does that change though? If that communal infrastructure is there, but it doesn't change law, and it doesn't change how, because what you're describing has zero to do with administrations. Communities can do that, and some communities do already do those things. So what you're describing is not administration based. It's not congressionally based. It's not political party based. So I'm asking you, from an administrative, political party, congressional perspective, what are the answers?
Well, that's why you have like sanctuary policies, and you build local clinics, local legal aid, language classes. However, I think even under the progressive model, you'd still have to vote for those laws to change. this would be the same thing. I mean, you could probably even pair it into a progressive dynamic. However, I think fundamentally, in my perspective, I think it's incompatible to really just find a solution if we're living under a capitalist society, because we have to delegate people into a lower class to support the system. We have to commit mass atrocities and mass exploitation in order to fulfill the needs and wants of the American people under an imperial economy. And as long as we have to do that, there's going to continuously be these crises of mass migration, of political destabilization, war. And it won't affect us now because we have the means to defend ourselves, but you don't know. America is nothing if it's the entire continent of South America, Latin America, that is coalitioning against America. And I wouldn't blame them if they did, because like we have issues here, and I completely agree with you. We have to focus on domestic policy first. But the firm reality in my position is that the solutions that you and I are both seeking are fundamentally incompatible if we live under a capitalist society. So it will never happen.
Okay, so, and that's so. Listen, so number one, that's not true. It's not true. And so the thing that really bothers me is when people use polarizing language, because polarities are fake. They do not exist. And so there's absolutely a world in which things materialize, right? And so it is absolutely possible to have systems and policies that work under capitalist societies. Other countries have figured it out, and we can too, right? And so I think it's really important that this whole
I'm sorry, but just like we're not those. We have an imperial capitalist economy. That's much different than Hong Kong, right?
And you don't think the UK has that?
No.
Okay. Well, here's what I would say.
Colonizing, but they're not large enough to quantify that. They don't have enough power to be an imperial economy. We are an imperial. China is becoming an imperial economy.
Okay, but follow me. Here's the thing. Okay. Is imperial economies or not, in terms of like global superpower, that doesn't correlate to what we have here in our country and domestic policy, right? So like, again, because what I hear is this very fantastical viewpoint that basically, and I get really irritated when I hear these things, because even in this conversation, I have not heard a single tangible solution or proposed solution that could not already exist as it does. Like the community programs that you speak of, the community infrastructure that you speak of, the welcoming community, the sanctuary cities, those things already exist. And they could exist, and they are not kept from existing based on what's already here. They're just simply not. And so what I'm looking for are concrete, tangible steps to create the thing that you and your friends claim to desire.
I have some.
Give me 1 second, Mark. I'm going to get to you.
Sorry. Take your time.
Yeah, no worries. And Joe from New York, that's not the way it works. So let me be clear. A, there's absolutely zero evidence that America is the quote unquote greatest country in the world. That just tells me you haven't gone anywhere else, Joe. Number two, people in the United States of America can have an opinion. We can say, I hate this fucking country, and I still get to live here. You want to know why? Because that's called free speech. And as someone who's served this country, I support people exercising whatever they think, because that's their right to do so. And for you to say that, what you sound like is anti-American, Joe. America is not a country that kicks out people that don't support it. That's a dictatorship. That sounds a little bit like you like fascism, Joe. And I do not. Okay. Hold on 1 second. Jordan, good morning, and how are you?
I'm good, and how are you?
I am fantastic. What would you like to share?
Well, number one, I love your live, and I love everything that you do, love everything about you. One of the things that I think that a lot of us are putting a lot of our eggs in a basket, thinking that these midterms is going to help out a lot. But I feel that, okay, let's look back at everything. He's going to throw a wrench into something that caused total chaos during that time. That I don't even think we may even have midterms. How do you feel about that?
I think we're absolutely going to have midterms. And I think that there's no one that wants this country. So I think that that's what they want people to believe, because they want people to not come out and vote. And what I think is that people who desire change should focus on what they desire to create, instead of all the potential possibilities that we have zero evidence is happening. And I think if people are really concerned about something negative happening in the midterms, then they should encourage their state legislature to pass the same law that New Mexico just passed, where it is illegal, and even under the color of law, to deploy troops, armed troops, to polling locations, to elections, to parking lots. So yeah, I think that if people are concerned about that, then they should have their states do what New Mexico did. And I think that this is one of the reasons why progressives lose so damn often, is because we spend so much time focusing on all the negative reasons why nobody should try, and all the places where progressive leadership has failed. And the other side does not do that. They focus on what they desire to get done. They don't give a damn what progressives say. They are not sitting around going, what if the Democrats do this? They give zero fucks. They have planned their work, and they are working their plan. And when anything doesn't come out exactly how they would like it to, it's definitely not because they don't have a plan. And it's definitely not because they're not working it. And then all they do is go, oh, well, that happened. Everything is fluid. Let's pivot and go this other way. And that is what they do exceptionally well. And I don't know why Democrats don't do that.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. I'm not saying that, I don't want anybody to vote or whatever, because I'm going to do whatever I can, a family and everything, that we get out there and vote or whatever. But, whether he outsmarts us or outdumb us or
he's
whatever,
dumb. He can't outsmart us.
Yeah, he is dumb. But
he's not smart.
He's not going to care about anybody telling him the military or ICE cannot be at voting booths or anything.
It doesn't matter what he cares about. George, listen, y'all are giving him way too much damn time and attention. I give zero fucks about Donald Trump. Seriously, I don't care about the man. And he is having a difficult time right now, even within his own party. He's gotten us into a war with no plan, no exit strategy. He's fucked everybody over on tariffs. Everything is, and they understand when Democrats are running at elections and they are running at plus 13 right now, Republicans understand the problem. And what they know right now is that if they keep going down this path, they are going to not only lose the House, which is a given, they will lose the Senate as well. And they will set themselves up for failure all the way down the road. So here's my thing. I want you to just pay attention to something. If I could make an observation. When you talk about doing something positive, here was your verbiage. You said, I'm going to do whatever. So, my family and I, we're going to get out and vote. We're going to get out and vote or whatever. And we're going to do those things or whatever. So do you see how general your verbiage is around voting and what to do, what action you will take? But then how specific your verbiage is about opposition and about obstacles and about Trump. And what I would say is, if people were to get as specific in their details and in their actions and in their work as to what they would like to create as they are about what they don't want to see happen, we might actually make progress.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. Thank you. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, you're welcome. I just think it would be beneficial for us to move in that direction. But yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, appreciate you, Jordan.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Existential, hold tight for me real quick. Mark, good morning, and how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. I love your content. I love your lives, and this is the first time I think I've ever joined. But I will just tell you what I do think we can do, and then I'll get out of the way. But if I can just first play a brief foundation. You asked existential question. It seems like everybody you ask a question, you say, what's your specific thing that you would do? And everybody comes back and tells you what can't be done. So I'm glad you said what you just said. You saved me a part of what I had to share. So, but the most important thing is, here's what I think we should do with 134 days to the midterms. We know that power follows money and money follows power, i.e., the Apple guy whose name escapes me now, Steve, whatever, not Steve, but anyways, the Apple guy taking a trophy to Donald Trump and dropping off a couple $1 million, and all the Facebook guys giving money away to these politicians. Here's what I think. It's a thought. Instead of us randomly, occasionally doing a blackout and not spending any money on Friday and then going out and spending it all on Saturday, which does absolutely nothing, what if collectively, we the people, do logo outs? Home Depot, you want to let ICE hang out in your parking lots? We're not spending a dime with you ever again. And we'll let you know who's next on the list, but not until we bring you to your knees. And we bring one company at a time to its knees. You know, the Birmingham boycott picked transportation in one area. I think if people collectively channeled that focus, one gigantic, foolish money-giving conglomerate at a time, I don't think you have to take more than two companies to its knees before the money gets back on the right side of living, and the politicians will follow. The CEOs will race to the microphone to talk about how they see the light now, and the politicians will be right behind it. It's just my thought. I'd be interested to hear your feedback on it, but I think one at a time, take them to their knees and watch the politicians get in line, because the money will stop flowing to the bad guys. It'll start flowing to the good guys. And we can start that ahead of the elections. I know that's a tall order, but it's better than oh my gosh, Trump's killing us, we're not going to be able to do anything.
So I think that if people want to teach corporations a lesson in terms of money and all of that, I think that's great, and I think that people should do that. I don't think that is a fast enough strategy to bring about the desired and the change that we need and the opportunity that's in front of us right now. And one of the things that I don't think that people really grasp is the space that we are in this moment. We have 134 days. And what's wild is that if we come out on the other side of the midterms with a progressive majority, how imperfect, and it will be imperfect. There are Democrats that I would love to see every single one of them out of office. And we do not have the candidates necessary and needed to challenge them and to beat them. So at this moment, I can't say this enough. In my humble opinion, I believe that primaries are for your personal preference. So primaries, I want you to vote for whoever makes your fucking heart sing. Whoever makes you feel warm and fuzzy, primaries, that's your person. And if your person doesn't beat the establishment Democrat that is already in office, you suck it up and you vote for the progressive that is already in office or who has won the nomination, has the best chance to beat the GOP candidate. Because in the general election, we vote for the goodness of all people and the entire country, right? So that's number one. Number two, I don't think that people understand that where we are right now, in so many ways, parallels where we were in the early to mid 1860s. Okay, and here's what I mean by that. At that time, we had Andrew Johnson in office, who was absolutely a fascist, racist asshole. Sound familiar? Just saying, he's from Tennessee, which is where I'm from. Kind of know the type. Number two, we had a racist Supreme Court, right? 100%. And right now we have a majority Supreme Court that also tends to support a little fascism and leans a little racist, right? But what we had was a Congress that not driven, and here's the thing that I want you all to get. This Congress wasn't driven by, oh, we love Black and brown people. That is not, it absolutely tickles me when people are like, progressives led the way in the 1800s, and that's how we got the Reconstruction Acts, and that's how we got, listen, I really want you all, and the faster that everybody gets this, the better off we will be. people are not going to. Why someone does something, I don't even give a shit. If you do the right thing, I just need you to do the right thing. I don't need you to be my people, right? So people want to believe that they want people who will do things because those people look and feel and believe like they do. And that's just not it. So here's the thing. Have you ever heard of the Corwin Agreement? The Corwin Amendment?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So the Corwin Amendment was this ugly ass piece of legislation that came about in 1860 and 1861, right? And it was in response to these states seceding from the Union in the South, okay? And those states were seceding over states' rights. And what was the state right they were seceding over? The right to own Black people. Let's be clear about the state right, okay? And so he was tasked, Corwin was a representative from Ohio. And Corwin was tasked with putting together an amendment that would appease the states in the South. So do you all know that we actually passed an amendment to the Constitution called the Corwin Amendment? And the Corwin Amendment would have allowed the Confederate states, the Southern states, to keep slaves. And it said that the federal government would never interfere with slaves. It's just that any new states could not have slaves. So I want you to understand, and the sooner Black and brown people get a grip on this and stop acting like, I know that you want this country and its government to love you. I also want you to accept that may never fucking happen. And so you need to do what's necessary to make the policies that work for you become implemented. This government did not pass the 13th Amendment because it loved the idea of freeing Black and brown people. It passed it because the Civil War popped off before that other amendment could be ratified. So I want you to understand the Corwin Amendment, which said slavery could stay in the Southern states, it passed the House and the Senate. 4 states ratified it into law. 4. Okay? The only reason it did not continue down that process is because the Civil War popped off. You can look it up. It is called the Corwin Agreement. Now, that is how we got to where we are. And then here's what happened. So Civil War pops off. Note to all Confederate states, you lost. You can stop flying your Confederate flag, that treasonous flag. You can stop flying it any damn day now. Okay. And so just to let you know, flying that flag, the Confederate flag, is treasonous because you lost your war. And as a matter of fact, if you all do not know, this is when Congress gave us the precedent for the time that we exist in right now. Okay. So here's what Congress did. At the end of the Civil War, Congress said, you know what? We're going to get our shit together. And if you all want to get back into this union, you got to agree to some things. And so Congress passed the Reconstruction Acts, right? And the Reconstruction Acts divided that Confederate South into 5 militia territories. Did y'all know that? And it required certain things from those Confederate states to get back into the Union. It said, number 1, you have to ratify the 13th and 14th Amendment. You won't let them folk be kind of sort of free until you can make Jim Crow laws. But I digress. And then you have to redo your state's constitution, right? And then you guys have to actually, every man, Black and white, must sign the oath book. And that oath says that you did not commit treason during the Civil War, because there were actually some white people that were denied the eligibility to vote because of their actions and service in the Civil War. Did you know that? That's a thing. So hold on one second, folks. So these Reconstruction Acts, we deployed the military down into these southern states and the military oversaw this oath book signing. And then we created a role, and it was the return of qualified registered voters. And that was for Black and brown men, 21 years of age and older. Notice I said men, because women, we still wasn't shit to them at that time. We ain't much better than shit now, but we still wasn't shit to them then. So Black and white men, 21 and older, got their names put in this database. And it was the return of qualified registered voters based on that oath book. Okay. This past weekend, I spent Juneteenth a little bit doing some ancestry work. This right here is a printout of the Return of Registered Voters book from my third great grandfather in 1867. This is the first time that I can find him on government until I get to the census in 1870, because of course he wasn't a person until 1870, right? And so here's what's important about this. Do you know that they challenged? Did you all know? How many of you all did not know? Put a 1 in the chat if you did not know that they actually challenged the Reconstruction Acts as unconstitutional. Put a 1 in the chat if you did not know that there was a court case that challenged the Reconstruction Acts as unconstitutional. And it went all the way to the Supreme Court. And Congress was like, y'all not about to do this. Congress said, nope, we just finished the Civil War. You are not going to overturn the Reconstruction Acts and then have us back in another damn Civil War. So you know what Congress did? While the Supreme Court was hearing that, they had heard the arguments on this case, right? It's called the McCardle case. Congress passed legislation changing the types of cases the Supreme Court has jurisdiction over, and it took that case out of the Supreme Court's hands. That is how Black and brown people got the benefits of the Reconstruction era. It was from Congress. And it wasn't because Congress all of a sudden loved Black and brown people. It was because Congress knew economically the Union would not be able to stand and function if we had a second Civil War. It was, and so listen, it's always been about the money for these folks. And that's fine. But if I can use your desire to have power and money and greed to protect people and to advance the lives of Black and brown people and LGBTQIA people and elderly people and disabled people, then that's what I'm going to do. And that is the opportunity that we have right now, because beloveds, to channel my inner Ayanna Van Zant, beloveds, if you come out of November with a majority in the House and the Senate, you do so many good things. Number one, you send a message not only to Republicans, but to the Democratic establishment. We ain't fucking around with y'all no more. We're not, don't you put on a kente cloth and take a knee. You better vote the way you need to vote. Nobody gives a shit about your performative works, Democrats. You are on notice. That is why Democratic Socialists are whipping your asses in these primaries. And we're going to find more of them to challenge you. That's the first thing, right? GOP, your days are done. In the manner in which it is, the worst thing you ever did was let the Tea Party take over your Republican Party. But thank you, because now the country's awake. We're good. And then you set yourselves up come next year to use budget reconciliation to put funding back into SNAP and Medicaid, to take funding back from the Department of Labor and put it back into the Department of Education. To do what? To take that $75 million that was allotted to ICE and put it back to the people. You set yourself up so in 1 year from now, we can use the same tool they used to hurt people to help people. And then that's the beginning of a lot of other things that we can do. Okay?
You're my hero. I appreciate you. I have to get back to work, but let me tell you, this was the
You're
best
welcome.
time I've spent this week. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thanks,
And the
Martin.
education, oh my goodness, chef's kiss.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely wonderful.
Appreciate it.
Bye now.
Bye-bye. All right, Young Blood. And then we're going to Aaron. Good to see you, Aaron, by the way. Young Blood, good morning. How are you?
Yeah, how you doing, Dani? Enjoy your lives. I listen to you often. This is the first time I've ever came up to interact with you. And I don't want to jump all over the place and go here, there, go back to the 1870s and all that kind of stuff. The point that I'm trying to make here is there's a difference between running on a problem and fixing a problem. And what the Republicans do, and they're very good at it, they want to run on the problems, but when it comes to solving them and fixing them, they never do that. It's the difference between the two parties. At least the Democratic Party, we're talking about immigration. We all know that immigration, the process to get green card holders in this country is a problem. What are you going to do to fix it? The only solution that I've heard came from Joe Biden when he tried to put additional judges on the bench, tried to speed up the process and make the process more reasonable. And that's the difference between the two. So that's the only point I wanted to make. Republicans run on the problem. Democrats try to fix the problem. And there's a huge difference between that. And I'm going to leave it at that. You have a beautiful day.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate you, young blood. Aaron.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Oh, living the dream.
All right. I actually agree with Youngblood. Actually, it's something I often say. Republicans are great at campaigning, but they're horrible at governing.
Yep.
Because they know the buzzwords, they know how to get your vote, but then once they get the power, they don't know what to do with it for the people. They know what to do for the corporations. That's why you're seeing so many people, and why Democrats currently, even in their fractured state, and I want to say fractured, but not really, but yes, really.
Yes.
In a lot of these pollings, and a lot of people are turning over, is because they realize that even though the Democrats are not perfect and they have a lot of work to do, they did try to help the working people. Now, this is where I think we're leftist, communists, I have an issue. Because instead of actually getting people, progressives in power in Congress, which is where all the changes start from, where the power actually lies, they convince people don't vote. They convince people it's not worth it. Let's see everything burn to the ground. Meanwhile, the elderly, the disabled community, Black people, not in any particular order, are always the ones that are going to be forgotten about and harmed the most.
Mila.
And that is the issue that I have. And then you mentioned it earlier, and I promise you, Existential, I'm not coming for you. But I love the conversation you were having with them. Is because they were speaking. I don't know your pronouns. That's why I'm using they. Please don't be offended. Existential.
The yellow box that has a little
they were being very broad stroke, slogan-like, and not solutions based. And I'm like, let's call it the problem, but how do we fix it?
Yes.
What are the steps that we need to do? Who am I going to put in power that actually is moving towards that goal? I know my goal is to get to 10. We may be at 2.5. I understand that I'm not going to get to 10 tomorrow, but I need people in all aspects of government and community to be organizing the people so that we can get to 10 while not forgetting the most vulnerable groups in this country. And I think that conversation we forget when we get, quote, radicalized, and we want to see it that burns the ground, and we talk about centrists. Well, guess what? Centrists were popular 10 years ago. I've been a progressive most of my voting life. The reason why I'm not a Democrat is because they're not progressive enough, even though I vote democratically, because I understand this is a party that is going to get me there. But like you said, primaries, that is where I want my most progressive person and that has my ideals. And if they don't win, I still show up to vote. And then whoever wins, I'm calling, I'm emailing. And then my person who didn't win, I'm like, okay, how can we get your name out there? We need to make sure that I'm still donating to your campaign. Make sure that you're still getting up there and you're still getting a bigger following, so that the next go round, you're like the pest that won't go away, but it's making people think outside the norm of, hey, this isn't the only way. Let's push the envelope. Let's push the barriers to get where we need to go while still calling out the problems without going after and forgetting about the most vulnerable. And I think that is, and I love the way that you have these conversations, because it's not about saying you're wrong. It's saying, let's unpack that. What do you mean by that? Let's think deeper than just a slogan. And I absolutely know and believe that is the way that we have to get people to understand the bigger issue.
Yeah, 100%. And one of the things that you're saying, so you've probably heard me say this as well. Okay, Elaine, I can't stand the whole burn it down mentality. I think it's nonsense. And the burn it down mentality, by the way, you all, actually matches what the Heritage Foundation wants to do. They want to burn it down. Yeah. They want all of these systems to collapse. They've written for them to collapse. Literally, Kevin Roberts' book is called Dawn's Early Light. And before he changed the name of it, it was Burning Down America. to save burning Washington to save America. Just so that you guys understand, they want to burn it down. Okay, that is why they are tearing apart all of our systems. So the way that I describe this is, imagine, I want you to think about real estate, okay, if you will. And let's just say that we find this beautiful old, what used to be a mansion, right? This great house to rehab. And when we are getting ready, we buy the house, it's ours, we own it. Okay, it's got great bones. And then when we get into the house and we're going to build it up to get it modernized, we notice that there are parts of the house where there's been termites and there's infestations. And so certain rooms, I want you to imagine that certain rooms are certain branches of government or certain policies, right? So in some of those places, there's termite damage. You don't just say, well, fuck it, we'll burn the whole thing down. No, that's not what we do. We put in support beams. Support beams are the people that you're about to elect. We put in support beams to hold that institution up, to hold that policy up, to hold that area of issue, of policy, of objectives, right? And you put in people to hold it up while you root out the termite damage. Those are the establishment folks. Whether they are Republicans or whether they are Democrats, it doesn't matter. Whoever has chewed away, whoever has weakened the bones and the foundation of this big, beautiful thing that we are building together, we put in people to hold that up, support beams, while we root them out. And that is not easy work. And it is time consuming. And it's all of those different types of things. And that's okay, because at the end of that, you have the opportunity to fix it up, to put more support beams in, to modernize it, right? What you don't do is just slap a fresh coat of paint on that damn thing and act like we don't have challenges and act like we don't, like it's going to keep standing. It's not. And so it's important for us to realize, if we want to really do something, it is about investing the time and the energy and the work that it's going to take to create what we desire to have. But I'm just tired of this pie in the sky about what we are and aren't going to do. You know what I mean, Aaron? It's about getting in and doing the damn work. And we only got 134 days.
100%, because we're living in a microwave society.
I say that all the time.
We don't understand what it means to make something from scratch or to take your time and to fix it truly. They want 30 seconds, it's done. Even if it doesn't work, it's just, you see that you've won. Mm-hmm. But when you are truly trying to fix it and truly fix it, not put a Band-Aid on it, it takes time. And I wish people would understand, because even when you talk because listen, the commies, they don't like me. Oh, I found a lot of people talking about me, they hate me, because I asked them detailed questions. I asked them how, what's going to happen, show me what this means. And they tell me, well, we're just going to go to CVS and Google and Gob. What? That doesn't make any sense, right?
Right.
So when you look at, I politically align with the 1860s progressive Republicans, where I want federal protection of civil rights and voting rights. I want massive investment into entrepreneurship and into the Black community. And then I want the community to then lead and help. And then that also will, because the community is behind you, it's going to influence Congress and the federal and the state governments, and all of that will be back into a village type mentality, to where it's not rugged individualism that is, let me see how I'm gonna get over on you so I can put myself higher.
100%.
But people don't understand, that is what, when they look at republicanism, and I'm not talking about modern day republicanism, because no, not never. But if you look at what it meant for Black folks back during the Reconstruction era, that's when you actually saw America truly thrive. That's when the other folks go through. That's when you saw the public school system coming to fruition. And what happened? Once we got it off the ground, white folks came and kicked us out, and then Jim Crow came, and then it's been systematically been dismantled ever since then.
100%.
And so that is why I say history is so important. Not to say that you're subjugated and you can't make anything of yourself,
No.
But if you know history and you know the systems, when they were put in place and why, you then understand the motivation of how to fix it, how it correlates now, and how we can move away from that and dismantle that.
Yeah, 100%. And so, you know, Aaron, it's being biracial in this country is always fun, historically speaking, right? Because I have so many feelings about all the sides of it and all the things, right? Especially having served. And what I really wish people understood is that we are this close to creating, to, you know how if you ever go like rope like rock climbing, and you stick that.
I've seen it, not personally, but I've seen it. I know the mechanics of it.
Yes, but you are able to get that hook in, and it's just solid, and you can pull it. Y'all, we are that close. It's that hook that we need to really get going on this climb. And I really want people to understand that you all are like, oh, but what about this? And what about this? And what about, stop it. All I know is we can hook it, right? We are this close from being in a place to get our hook into the foundation of what we need to be able to build what we desire to have. And what I want people to focus on is the only branch of government that has the ability to check both other branches is Congress.
Mm-hmm.
That's the branch. They can check the courts, and they can check the administration. And that is why they want you to feel apathetic, and that is why they want you to feel disengaged, and that's why they don't want you in it. Tony, please wait your turn. And if you are tired, feel free to leave and go somewhere else. Thank you. We're going to be adults here. So this is the part that it's literally sitting here on the cusp of what you desire. And what you have to kind of figure out is, okay, so what do I need to do? And when you said microwave, Aaron, I say this all the time, that we are a microwave generation. However, it was the crock pot generation that put democracy. We just put democracy in a crock pot in the 70s, right? And we thought it was just going to cook great in that crock pot. And that shit has burnt. It is stuck to the sides. Nobody stirred democracy. Think about it, y'all. Democracy's been in a crock pot for 50 years. And we haven't done shit with it in 50 years. And then you wonder why it is burnt all to hell and stuck. So what we have to do, so what I would like to invite y'all to is Sunday dinner at Big Mama's house. Okay? That's the era that we are in right now. We are in the Sunday dinner at Big Mama's house. And do you know what that means? That means we about to get down with some real good home cooking. And somebody is going to be the mac and cheese person. Now, let me just tell y'all, mac and cheese people, y'all typically not going to be like 20. I love y'all. I have a job for the 20-year-olds, but it ain't mac and cheese. Okay? It ain't. It is not. Mac and cheese people are going to be closer to your older millennials and your Gen X's. Right? And listen now, some of my boomers are going to tell you a little bit about that season. They're going to make sure that you stirred up just right and all that, right? But just so you understand, everybody has a role to play. Not everybody's going to make collards. Not everybody's going to listen. That's not it. And there will be days when you get ready to show up and you are frustrated. And what I want you to do, when your friends, existential, when your friends start talking to you, those are like the cousin that you need to get together. So when your friends show up, you need to be the cousin that takes them outside and gets their ass all the way together before they come back in the house. Because we're not bringing no negativity and drama up in Big Mama's house. We're not bringing that shit up into the kitchen. We're not doing that. If your job, if the only thing that you can manage, I know people in this community that are disabled, that don't get out and all of that. And you're like, what can I do? There are so many things that you can do. And the equivalent of what you can do might mean bringing the ice and bringing the paper plates. And if that's your job, Don't you walk up in here with no quick trip ice that you got to bang on the sidewalk and get concrete stuck in it. You better walk up in this house with some Sonic ice. I need some good ice. You hear me? If you come up here with some plates, don't bring me no paper plates. I got to stack 3, 4, and 5 to make it decent. Whatever your role is, whatever you can do, it's got to be that top tier, because when we all do our part and we sit down at the new dinner for democracy, it will taste fantastic. It won't be microwaved. It will be old school seasoning. It will be time treated. It will have lessons passed down from generations. It will have all of that infused in it, right? We will be able to take the lessons from the ancestors, from the 1800s and the 1900s and the civil rights movement. All of those things combined together, right? But that's what this moment is, y'all. For real. And so you better figure out what you're gonna do and how you're gonna do it, because this is not the TV dinners and microwave ovens. It ain't that. This is Sunday dinner at Big Mama's house, and we got a lot of work to do. But the cool is that we can do the work. Yeah, hang around, Aaron. Don't go nowhere unless you gotta go somewhere. But okay, good. All right, so I'm gonna go Jonathan, then Tony, then Juanita. Jonathan, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. First and foremost, I love your brain. I was listening to you speak about the Reconstruction era, and I was listening to Aaron speak about the 1860s Republicans and how we strive to be so much like them. I love what they did, but you got to remember the great betrayal of 1877. You know, those same Republicans was the ones that signed off on ending Reconstruction so that they could win that election with Rutherford Hayes and give the South the rights to do Jim Crow, okay, which essentially put us where we are right now. So, it sounds romantic. It really is, but it's just, and we can embrace part of it, but not all of it, because that Jim Crow era lasted from 1877 to 1964 when the Civil Rights Bill was passed. Mm-hmm. So, and I would argue beyond that. But, with that being said,
I said black progressive Republicans. I was very.
Aaron said, "Let me specify."
Okay. But I would say, I love the Big Mama analogy, but I think this time it's going to be a bit different. I believe it's going to be a bit different because we're going to have systemic issues. I mean, what this administration has done and what the GOP have done, they have stolen judgeships from us, lifetime appointments. Okay, during the Obama era, when you look at excuse me.
Nothing. Go ahead.
Okay. When you look at what Mitch McConnell was able to accomplish, he's probably going to be the most consequential Senate leader of all times because he shaped the Supreme, not only Supreme Court but the federal judicial courts for a very, very long time. And then you look at what this administration has done, the replacement, the putting people in places. We're gonna have to root those people out. I think the era of when they go high, when they go low, we go high. That era is over, and I just think that if we continue to move in that mantra, we're never, ever, ever gonna win, because what we're gonna do, show them how to do it right. We have to take corrective actions, because there's been a lot of damage done to not just our great country, but to our democracy. And so we got to make it right. It's no more like, okay, let's show them how to do it, And, when we look at what's going on with the Democratic Party, their messaging is horrible. Every catchphrase and buzzword that comes out right now comes out from the GOP, Sleepy Joe, Crooked Hillary, all these, elitist Obama. Those things stick. We haven't been. The Republicans look at you. They assign you a name. Okay, they're doing the same thing to Gavin Newsom right now to make him, make him not tolerable, digestible. Same thing they did.
They don't got to do shit for Gavin to not be digestible. That the Republicans only got to do shit for me.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that's their playbook. straight out of their playbook. What they did with the Affordable Care Act. They labeled it Obamacare, and when it started working out, they took it back and started calling it what it's supposed to be, ACA. And then now that they ruined it, they're back to calling it Obamacare. And then they sell the American people every election that they're great for the economy. But history shows that they're horrible for the economy. Hell, if you go back to Reagan, every president, since Republican president since Ronald Reagan has set through a recession. None of the Democrats have. If you go back to Roosevelt, the only Democrat that that set through a recession was Jimmy Carter, and that was June of 1980 to September of 1980. So they're not good for the economy, but yet everyone believes that they're good for the economy. They are the fiscal conservatives. They don't spend money. When you look at what Bush has done, the last Bush. When you look at what Trump did his last time around, and what Trump has done so far, I mean, they far outspend the Dems. But their messaging is telling the people that they're doing otherwise. And so, I don't know where we go. I mean, you gotta go to Big Mama's house and cook a nice little meal, and everyone's responsible for this and this. But we those cousins that you talked about, we're gonna need those cousins out there, because we gotta figure out a way to get the Supreme Court back balanced. Okay, it's no longer a balanced Supreme Court.
We don't have to figure that out. I know how to do that.
Okay, expand the courts. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, but there's a timeline and a way to do that and get that done. And so, like, this is the thing. So, like, I want everybody to understand what I'm talking about. Okay, so I'm going to give you 2.5 years. This is the timeline. This is the timeline. Are you ready? Here you go. Write it down if you need to. Okay, here's the timeline. November of 2026. You come out on the other side with a progressive majority in the House and in the Senate. And that's the hard work. You got to make that happen immediately. You go into 2027 ready to do a couple of things. Number one, you do budget reconciliation to give back to people the things that were stripped out last year regarding SNAP and education and Medicaid and all of that, and taking the funding out of ICE that currently exists. All right. So that's part one. Part two in 2027 is something that continues from here on forward, which is finding progressive populists to be able to challenge the establishment Democrats in office and move things forward. That's number two. Number three, you begin the first phase of government accountability. Okay. And what does that look like? The first phase of government accountability looks like going after the people that are in the cabinet positions, right? So that means going after the Todd Blanches and the RK Juniors and the Pete Hegseths and the Kristi Noems or whoever it may be at this point in time, right? It means going after those individuals for the violations of oath of office that they did, and even some of the crimes that they did, in order to make that happen, right? So that's number two, because you have the majority. And the beautiful thing is, when you impeach those people and you remove them from their positions, then what you have is you have a Democratic majority in the Senate where not just any willy-nilly replacement can go through the confirmation process. Okay. So you continue to do that. That's all of 2027, helping people, accountability, and continuing to move forward and challenge the establishment that already exists. You do that so that when you go into 2028, you use the Democratic majority to do what I call, you Mitch McConnell those motherfuckers. Do you know what that means? That means in 2028, you absolutely expand the court to 13 justices, one justice for every circuit. Okay. But you make sure that you do that right around this time of year. And the reason why is that way it's too close to the election to allow anybody to be appointed. That's the Mitch McConnell the motherfuckers part. Number two, you have the Democratic majority in the Senate. So they're not filling those seats regardless. And then you go into 2029 with a progressive majority in the House, the Senate, and the executive branch. And then you can get busy with the second round of government accountability. So if Justice and old Uncle Clarence Stephen from Django's ass is still in the Senate, you go ahead and impeach and remove those justices along with Roberts. And now all of a sudden you have a 13-seat court with anywhere from 4 to 7 seats to be filled. and you have a progressive majority in the House and in the Senate to begin doing what? Term limits on the Supreme Court? 12 years. That's all you get. In and out. Done. Right? Closing the loopholes. Can we please, by the way, in 2027, we can pass the resolution that gets rid of the 10-year requirement for the ratification of the ERA, so we can go ahead and get ERA added to the Constitution. We can do that in 2027 too. We can have a win for women in 2027. This is the timeline, so that in 2 years and 6 months, we are on the path for creating a country that works for us. We can then take funding that went into ICE and put it into the FTC, money from the Department of Defense into the FTC, and then we go after these major corporations that have monopolies and these mergers and acquisitions that are actually vulture capitalism, right? Then we go in and we break up some of these the same way that we did before. Like, these are the steps. You are not going to be able to do shit about vulture capitalism until you get a democratic, progressive, populist majority in Congress, in leadership, and in the and running the executive branch. Once you do that, you can make that happen. You can disagree. I would love to hear your plan that shows me how you can do it faster. Go ahead, Existential. But Jonathan, go ahead first, and then Existential.
Yeah, I don't think you can. You're going to be able to do it that fast. Okay, 2027. I mean, 2028. I see that, but some of the things that you're saying, Trump could veto. Okay, we won't have a veto proof.
No, he won't.
Okay.
No, he won't. Right. I'm going to tell you why I'll tell you why he won't veto budget reconciliation. Because Republicans will have just lost the House and the fucking Senate. He will not veto giving something back to the people, because they will need a win with the people at that time. That's number one. Number two, come 2028, expanding the court, they're going to want that. They're going to want that either way. And it's the same thing. You got elections coming up. And again, one of the things that progressives always do is as soon as somebody lays out a plan, now nobody's got a different plan, by the way, but as soon as you tell people how to do something, they go, nope, that won't happen because of such and such. And that is why we lose so fucking all the time.
I think, listen to me. I love the plan. I just think some of those things we have to have someone at the top in the executive branch to pass some of those things. But let me just say this right. Today's a great day.
But you don't. That's the thing. You don't. The executive branch is a figurehead. They're supposed to sit there, greet babies, have dinners, and just make great speeches. The power is Congress. If you give the progressives the power in Congress like they did during the first 2 years of the Biden-Harris administration, you see 61% of Black wealth. You see Pell Grants. You see student loan forgiveness. You see sickle cell research. You see Black maternal rate funding. You see $1 billion in contracts going to minority-owned businesses. You see progressive policy being passed. There's nothing anyone can do about it.
Yep.
Because the power is Congress.
I agree. I just think that we're not going to have enough progressive in Congress right now to do that. Like, today is a great day. Today is a great day because, what's going on in New York and Madani and what he's doing and the people he's backing. Because if they win, that's going to show a significant power shift in the Democratic Party.
The power shift has already taken place. Look at the mayoral race. Look at Florida. Donald Trump's own state representative is a fucking Dem.
Yes.
The shift is already done.
Yes. Like, you got Hall County, Forsyth County. When the Klan went to Forsyth and Oprah called them out, they ran the halls. They're blue. I live in Tennessee. The amount of less Trump flags I see in Tennessee right now, you look at Texas, you look at Tarrant County, you look at Harris County. All of these counties are traditionally that are safe Republican states. And they are challenged. Turning blue.
No, listen to me once again. I think we're not far off. What I'm saying is what Madami's doing, because right now, this is going to take it.
Hold on 1 second, Jonathan. Tony, if you take your ass off mute one more time, I'm kicking you the fuck off my panel. You will wait your turn and stop being a child. And I'm not playing with you, sir. You're the only person on this panel acting like you don't have any impulse control. Wait your turn. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Yeah. And the reason I'm saying this is because Madami, he was so, people, they made Republicans try to make him the face of what can happen, and it's all bad. And the fact that he was able to prevail, and he's doing as well as he's doing, and the fact that he's backing these individuals right now, we need these people to win. The three people that he's backing, because it's him. I think it's going to really put a new face on the Democratic Party.
The new face is already there, and the Democratic Party knows it. The new face is already there, and the Democratic Party knows it. The train has left the station, and there's nothing else. We don't need any other signal. The train has left the station. It is already moving forward, and they know it. That is why you have never seen this many Democrats talking about, I will not take money from AIPAC, and no, we shouldn't fund Israel. You ain't heard that shit in I don't know how long.
Never.
Exactly. The train has left the station. The only thing we need to do is be about the business of getting people informed and getting people accurately informed and getting people mobilized and ready to go. That's what it's about. And that's all we got to do.
Thank you very much. Okay. I don't want Tony to get off mic.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Listen, don't worry about Tony. Tony gonna be all right today. All right, Tony. What would you like to say?
Oh, I love the progressives. They have sunk the Dem Party. First of all, can you name a successful or a nice socialist or communist country, please?
So, Tony, I live in the United States of America. And so we're going to talk about the United States of America. What would you like to say about the United States of America?
Los Angeles. It is a hellhole. We have homeless encampments all over the place. Mithya Rahman, the socialist candidate, is in favor of homeless encampments within 500 feet of schools. Are you in favor of that?
Tony, I am not scared of homeless people.
Okay. You're not scared of
So I'm not scared of people that are homeless.
Encampments within 500 feet of schools.
Yeah, I'm not. You're talking to someone, Tony, who literally, Tony, you're talking to someone who literally brought two homeless people to live in her house in my spare bedroom.
Okay.
So you can't scare me with homelessness.
You're for homeless encampments.
So I am, listen, let me be clear. Tony, listen, don't talk over me. And let me just be clear. Here's what I said. Here's what I said. I am not scared of homeless people. That's what I said.
Kids are, sweetie pie. So I want to.
You can come back when you learn my name. My name ain't Sweetheart or Sweetie Pie. I don't know who the fuck you talking to. And you've been here before, so I know you know better. So when you learn my name, you can come back.
And if Los Angeles is so bad, why don't you move?
Right.
Why don't you go over here to Bucks County, Tennessee?
And by the way, I am from Northeast Tennessee. I can talk to you about homeless populations in Tennessee.
Right.
They are not. Yeah.
They just made them illegal to be visible. They're still here. They just have to hide in the woods so you can't see them.
Correct.
Is that what the solution is?
Yeah.
Fixing the issues that cause homelessness?
Right.
Or can address homelessness?
Right. So if you want to talk about homelessness as an issue, then you would need to talk about what contributes and what causes homelessness. That would be the thing. So, Tony, I see you back in the request. So here's what I'm going to tell you, because I'm all for gentle parenting. However, you have reached your limit. So when I bring you up here, Tony, don't talk over me. Call me by my name. Got it? And be respectful. If you can't do those things, you will be booted and blocked. Okay? Y'all, this ain't Tony's first rodeo. Tony's been on my panel before.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. Somebody in the comments mentioned Sweden, Denmark.
I don't want to talk about any other countries, and you're not talking to the chat. Tony, you're not talking to Tony. You're not talking to the chat. You're not talking to the chat, and we are talking about the United States of America. We are talking about the United States of America. Tony, do you want to talk about the United States of America? Yes or no?
Sure.
Okay, let's go.
Sure. Kamala lost every single swing state.
So
She
you
refused to answer basic questions.
So
she
you
couldn't even do an interview.
So Tony, hold on. That's not talking about the United States of American policy. That's talking about the former vice president who is not running for office.
I heard the gentleman talking about Mitch McConnell. McConnell hates Trump. He voted for Kamala.
He did not.
On that.
He did not.
Really?
Yeah.
McConnell didn't vote for Kamala. Huh?
No, he did not. Really?
See, you support the career establishment politicians because mainstream media tells you to.
So, Tony, share with me how me saying to you, Mitch McConnell didn't vote for Kamala Harris, equates to I support establishment politicians, especially when I've spent the last several hours. I'm finished. Let me finish. Especially when, well, oh my gosh, you just can't do it. This is what is wrong with you. What is wrong with you? You are just not healthy. If you have health insurance, please get a therapist. Because something is wrong with you. Jeez, oh, Pete.
What the hell?
That is how he behaves. Tony's been up here one other time, and I think it ended similarly. But, one race, one human. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I have an answer for that person. Dr. King, in his book, and good morning again to everyone, his book, Where Do We Go From Here? Chaos Community, a book that all of us should read again or listen to on audio. He says this on page 214. We need the equivalent of a Medicare for housing. And as for socialism, the answer is United States of America. Dr. King said we have socialism for the rich and rugged individualism for the poor. So that's the answer. United States of America. Okay, so that's the answer. I want to mention, and it's tremendous, your conversation about after slavery. I want to mention Dr. King's speech from March 25th, 1965, his Montgomery, Alabama voting rights speech, where he says, and I'm paraphrasing, after slavery, after free labor, black men and white men voted together in fusion coalitions. They voted economics, not the color of skin. And then they brought in Jim Crow, segregation, to stop that. So for the Democrats to win in November and beyond, we must respond to the Southern strategy. We must respond to otherism. By the way, my name is Pastor John. Hi there. We must respond to Southern strategy. We must respond to otherism. How do you do that? By bringing people together. If I'm poor and I'm in Appalachia and I happen to be white, and you're poor and you're in Harlem, we're the same people. We have the same needs. We all need food in our stomach, clothes on our back, shelter over our head. It's bringing people together. And if we do that and break down these walls of racism that divide and conquer and lift up agape love, we can win. And by the way, your program for what we need to do in the next couple of years, it can happen. And you need to be an advisor to the Democratic Party. I'll listen now.
Everybody always says that the DNC does not touch me for whatever reason. They elevate a lot of people. I am not one of them, which is fine. But I appreciate that. So here's the thing. I think that we absolutely should focus on collective humanity and unification across our common experiences. And I also think it's important to acknowledge the places of differentiation, because while economically speaking, poor people in Harlem and poor people in whatever Oklahoma, whatever, while economically speaking, they are the same. Their experiences are not the same. The reasons for that poverty are not the same. And the mechanisms and opportunities for them to get out of them are not the same. And so I think that we should absolutely focus on the collective experiences and the places where we are in the same boat. And it's so important. And the only way that we change those circumstances is when we address the areas where there are additional reasons and additional factors that have to be addressed. And so, yeah, no, boss mom, I listen, I've had a target on my back for many, many, many years, and absolutely have challenged the establishment. So like, yeah, that's not the thing. I can promise you that's not the thing.
I totally agree with you. The experience are not the same, but in terms of, for example, one of the things we need to do collectively is, if you haven't joined Repairs of the Breach by Bishop Barber, you need to join that group. We need to join the poorpeoplescampaign.org also. In terms of numbers, there are more poor white Americans than there are black Americans in terms of numbers, right? And so these programs that they've been cutting, they've been hurting white poor Americans more than they have been people of color. But our collective, you can't win all of them over, but you can win enough over to win elections. It's kind of like the Christian vote. I'm not talking about the white racist, blonde-haired, blue-eyed, slave master Jesus. I'm talking about the real Jesus that stands for love and justice, mercy, and faith for all people. That you've got to stand up talk about who the real Jesus is. The real Jesus stands for what? Am I hungry? You fed me. Thirsty, you gave me something to drink. Naked, you clothed me. In prison, we stopped the prison to the kindergarten to prison pipeline. In other words, where we can get these votes. It doesn't have to be all of them, but enough of them to vote progressive, which means voting for agape love. It's voting for humanity. It's voting your human rights. It's voting to make the world better. Now, let me be quiet. One last thing, I'm going to be quiet. There's a book, my beautiful people out there, called No Clue, White American Affirmative Action Exists. It demands a moral revival now. What's going on with Donald Trump and all the rest of them, these people who are not qualified, right, is they have white affirmative action, which means the country is built for rich white men. So this book was written by attorney Oliver Hill, who's number 2 in the Howard Law School class with Thurgood Marshall. Marshall's number 1, and he was number 2, and by Reverend Professor Attorney Jonathan Stubbs. Love it. It has so much information in it that can help to explain everything from Bacon's Rebellion to what's that case, Johnson versus McIntosh, 1823, where they took away American Indians, said you all have possession of land, but you don't have legal right to it. Just tremendous. But I'm saying bringing people together is the key, and staying on that high road and responding to the Southern strategy in a way that brings people together. Reverend Jesse Jackson did that. It was done again after slavery. I know the history where Roosevelt sold us out and all that kind of stuff, but the fact still is that we can win votes, and we have to register people to vote and explain to them the importance of the vote. If your vote was not important, they wouldn't be trying to pass the SAVE Act, which is really the Unsaved Act. That's enough. I've said enough.
Yeah, no worries. No, Tina. No, my conversation with Rev Carla is tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's an evening live with myself and Reverend Carla. It's Rev Carla. So here's what I would say. When we talk about, and this is really important, while yes, the programs that impact and the number of white people living in poverty just by sheer number is greater, that's because they are the greater percent of the population. When we talk about per capita, it's not white people, right? So it's only 8% of non-Hispanic white Americans live in poverty. Native Americans, however, that number is around 22%. Black Americans, it is 20%, and Hispanic Americans, it is 15%. So it's really, really important. While we talk about it's 8% of 60% of the population. And so it's really important when we talk about that we don't miss the disparity in terms of the percentage of the population that group makes up. So I find that it's really important, because if we do not address the systems that create those disparities in those numbers and in those outcomes, then we do not actually cultivate change that lasts and that is beneficial for all groups of people.
Well, I'm with you, but there are according to poorpeoplescampaign.org with Bishop William J. Barber, there's 6 million poor, low-wealth white Americans. The thing is bringing people together. That's what Dr. King was trying to do. Now we know that.
Right, but did you hear what I'm not talking about the number of them. The number of them would be accurate, but that is because they make up 60% of the population, right? So Black people make up 13% of the population, but 20% of Black people live in poverty, whereas white Americans, it is 8% of their poverty, 8% of them. And so
I'm just trying to get these. See, there's too many poor white people who vote against their own self-economic interests, and that happens because of racism. Southern strategy.
So, but they do that because of racism, and by centering racists as your movement,
yes,
that is dangerous, and that is never going to happen.
Yeah, I'm not going to center them.
Always vote for the skin, not the policy,
Sissy.
because they are racist.
Bella, please come here.
I'm with you. I understand. I'm saying I'm not centering over that. I'm saying that's all part of the coalition. Don't leave any votes on the field. You know, we know that there are people. Listen, when President Obama was running for president, there's somebody in Pennsylvania, I think, who said, "I just can't bring myself to vote for a Black man," and the person said, "Well, vote for his white half." My point is that you go after everybody. You go after all the groups, and then you have a campaign to register people to vote. Where's the campaign for the Democratic Party to register people in the inner city to vote and progressive whites to vote? Where's that campaign?
Hold on.
Jesse Jackson did that 1984, 88, and that's why we changed things. We've lost that. Dr. King did the same thing in 65 and 66, registering people to vote. Where is that? Where's the
reason why we lost that is because there was this guy named Ronald Reagan who came into power, and then that wealth gap bloomed, and they blamed Black people and the welfare queen for the reason why they could no longer afford anything. And it's only gotten worse because they have leaned into conservatism, which is the policies that allow this to happen. They think immigrants are the reason why they have to work so hard and not unfettered capitalism. Yeah. So that is why you have to move and allow them to just get on board with what you're doing. You cannot center them because they are not ready to break down and deconstruct their mentality and their ideology to actually vote for policy because they're not doing the reading. They're listening to Trump's 3 words, and that is what they're holding on to. So that is why you have to move forward progressively and put the policies out there and let their friends, their neighbors, or whoever say, "Hey, I got this. This actually is working for me." And then that is what's going to change them, not by censoring them.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. In fact, this book by Professor Heather.
Hold on.
You have to. Yeah, she's 100% right. You have to pull them into the future.
So let me
pull them kicking and screaming into the future.
So let me tell you that
overwhelm them at the polls. That is plan that she spoke about. That's how you get there. You just have to be willing to do it. You just have to go for it boldly. No, like what that Dani's talking about is too fast. You gotta try. You gotta go after it. You gotta do what you have to do. Work it and go forward.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because you aim for the sun. Right?
Yeah, I know.
Guess what? You may not hit the sun, but you're gonna hit Mercury, right? Which is better than that Saturn where you were at before, right? Right?
Get one. So
you're correct. There's a book called "The Sum of Us" by Professor Heather McGee, and where some of us how racism harms everyone, and that white people, just like slavery, white people were harmed by slavery. What do you mean by that, Pastor John? I mean this: in the southern states, Black people did all the work. We were the merchants in terms of, you know, if it was today, we'd be the Amazon drivers, right? All that for free. You know, the sailors, anything the middle class did, the bricklayers, all the kind of things, building the White House, building the Capitol. They did that all for free. So what does that do for white people in the South? Hey, it stopped them from having jobs.
Okay, so wait. I gotta put a pause right there because so what you're doing again is you are doing what Aaron just talked about. You are centering white people as the victim of a system created by white people, and white people not having jobs is not the same as being enslaved Black and brown people. And the problem, I know, but hear me when I say this, the problem with that messaging is that you are perpetuating centralizing white people in systems in order to placate them, to get them to vote or to participate. And I'm just going to speak for myself. I have zero interest in doing that. I have zero interest in centering white people in any fucking conversation, because like literally what you just said is parallel to what is coming out of the GOP when they say, oh, Black people, we did you a service, we helped you out, we gave you skills when we enslaved you, like we helped you develop skills. Because you're literally saying white people did not get afforded the opportunity to have jobs because they enslaved people to give them to them. And so
let me finish it though. Let me finish it. So what I'm saying is this. See, when you talk to white folk and racist folk, and I grew up with the people who voted for Reagan and Goldwater, all those folk. You know what I'm saying? I know these people backward and forward. Hurry. All right?
Because it can't get to
and all. And we talk to deprogram them. They have to understand, just like today, they're voting. Poor white people are voting for the Republican Party, which is voting against their own economic interests. Just like in slavery days, they got poor white folk to fight for a system, economic system that did not benefit them. Now, I'm not centering white folk on that. I'm just giving facts. That's a fact. All right. So that's one reason why you had free states, is because it gave white people jobs.
Hold on. I got it, guys. Hold on one moment. Go ahead. Finish one race.
I'm saying that's one reason. There's a book by a white racist named Helpful, I think his name is. He was a white racist and he was abolitionist, but he was racist. And the reason why he wrote a book about how slavery hurt white people down there in the South. He didn't like Black people at all. Okay. In fact, Lincoln gave him a job, but he went through it economically about this whole thing. All I'm saying is, in order to deprogram these folk who think their heritage is, my heritage is southernness and all that kind of stuff. Your heritage is being exploited by rich white folk who exploited you, made you think that Black people are your enemies when they're not your enemies. And in the very beginning, let me end on John Punch, case of what is it, 1820, I think, or 1720, I forget the date, where he was a indentured servant along with two Dutch white guys, indentured servants. Mm-hmm. They all ran away. They got caught. The two white guys got 5 more years indentured servants. Well, 1620, I'm sorry. And then to the Black guy, they said, from now on, you're going to be a slave. John Punch, look it up. In other words, my point is, they divide Black and white people. You can't get all of them, but at least you have to strive to try to explain to them the system that has worked against them, and of course it worked against us. The GI Bill, we couldn't benefit from that in the South, in Tennessee. My relatives down south, they couldn't benefit from that, right? We didn't benefit from the fair housing. We were stuck into housing. We couldn't buy houses out in the suburbs. So I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. And I'm not centering any whiteness. I'm just saying that we've got to go out there and tell the story, American history as it is, and to bring people together in the spirit of agape love.
So I hear you. And let me just say this, okay? I mean, the short response is no, but a more fuller, robust response is this. If you just hear me out, when you say that you want to use the economy to bring poor white people to get them to vote, you are not, quote unquote, waking them up, and you are not helping Black and brown people because you are not challenging their racist beliefs. Racism still exists. And let me tell you, that is why we are where we are today, is because back in 65, That's what they did. They used economics to get white folk on board. The bottom line is white people still didn't like black and brown people. Right. And so at this point in time, I am absolutely not interested in trying to convince poor people that they should vote along the side of black and brown people for their own economic interests. I'm not. Listen, anybody that's a racist that wants to vote in a way that keeps their ass poor and white, then please, by all means, do that, right? You are either going to get on board with black and brown people are deserve equity, or you're not, right? Or you're not. And I think that this is the problem that I have 100%. And I do a very, very, very good job, if I do say so myself, of bringing. So you keep saying agape love is the answer. Listen, black people were being preached to about agape love while they had their skin whipped off their backs. And agape love does not translate when people do not have the basic necessities of life that they need. I just really need to listen. And I get it because you're a pastor. I hear you all day long. Those things are not tangible. Agape love is not tangible. Agape love does not put food on my table. Agape love does not make sure that we have housing that is affordable. Agape love does not give universal health care to people. Agape love, it doesn't do that. And I have never seen agape love in the Christian church in the United States of America. Agape love has us divided every Sunday at 11 a.m., high noon, as James Baldwin says. Agape love has us segregated as fuck. So I just want to be clear that when I talk about policy,
yes, ma'am,
I am talking about it from an actual, tangible, regardless of what you believe religiously or not. How do we move the country forward in a way that works for everyone? And I'm not centering whiteness to accomplish it.
Let me just piggyback on what you say, because we're really in agreement. Listen,
no, we're not.
Yes, I'll show
I can promise you that we are not.
Okay. Agape love means, love in action means Medicaid for all. What's it mean? It means that we have universal health care for all. What's it mean? We have daycare for all. What's it mean? We have equal pay for men and women for doing the same job for all. There's a book called Atom by Atom. Let me just finish for a second, please.
The problem is, and this is why you're not hearing it. You are reading all of this stuff, but you're not looking at practicality. All of those things that you have just listed, Appalachia does not want. They are against it, period.
That's true.
And you can read all the books that can give you this storybook picture of all of this. Reality is, the Confederate flying, don't bring no colors in my neighborhood, Appalachian whites that you want to bring with the party and bring with us, will not support anything that has black and brown and especially immigrants in it, because they do not see black, brown, and immigrant colored people as people. And until you understand that and you hear what black people are telling you, black people from the South, born in South Carolina, raised in Texas, Georgia, now live in Tennessee, you can't get more Southern than me. I can bring out my twang. They will not get on board. So therefore, you focus on progressivism. You leave them behind until they change their ways and they come along. Because centering them is why existential, like, I don't like y'all Democrats because y'all center the bad people. And they're right. And that is what you're doing because you've read some books that have told you how white people were harmed during slavery. I can't believe you stand on me. No, I don't need you to explain it. Your sentence that you repeated 3 times said it all for me. Okay. You said white people were harmed by slavery multiple times.
Yep.
Yeah, they were.
You center whiteness in your agape love. You think that the whiteness is how you're going to bring this all together by bringing the whites along with you. And I said it that way for a reason, because that is what the words you are saying, the books you are reading are telling you.
Okay, so I don't think that Dr. King meant that in his book, Where Do We Go From Here, Chaos or Community? And maybe I said it inappropriately. There's another book called Dog Whistle Politics, How Code and Racial Appeal Have Reinvented Racism, Wrecked the Middle Class, by Professor E. Lopez, who did not really care for his Professor Bell at Harvard, right? Later on, he found out, he means racism changes.
Sir, I know what the Southern strategy is. I know what the Southern strategy is. I know how it is utilized. I know all of those things.
I know you know it.
But the point that I'm making is that in your solutions, the way that your solution is to communicate to white people how all of these, hold on, let me finish. What you are saying is, I need to share with white people how these things that have been so horrible to Black and brown people are also hurting them. That's literally what you are saying. You are saying we need to show white people how these things that are hurting Black people horribly worse than they hurt white people are also hurting you, so that you and your whiteness, which will now be centered, will be the reason you get on board.
Well, I want votes, right? To vote for progressives. Okay?
Can I ask? Do you mind me asking? Are you white?
No, I'm not white.
Okay, so if you were going to describe your race, what would you say your race is?
I'm Black, y'all. Listen. The case of Plessy versus Ferguson, right? In that case, read it for yourself. All right. In that case, Plessy was 7/8 white, according to the Supreme Court, and 1/8 Black, but it was not discernible. They didn't care how white he looked. They said to him, "Get to the back of the train." All right. Now here let me make this point about what I'm trying to say. Basically, is these poor white folk have their welfare and everything else, their food stamps, because of people of color. We're the ones that have helped them. All right. For example, the book by Adam, by Reverend Congressman Adam Clayton Powell Jr. talking about agape love in action. The reason why we have the Pell Grant should be called the Powell Grant, because of Reverend Congressman Adam Clayton Powell. The reason why we have the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which is weaker than the one in 1875, all right, it's because of Adam Clayton Powell Jr. The reason why we have the Voting Rights Act, same thing. All the different bills that we have, building schools and housing and equal pay for women that you try to do there, raising minimum wage, is because of Reverend Congressman Adam Clayton Powell Jr. Read his book. Okay, read his book there. And he.
Okay, can I just?
What agape love means is you use power to change people's lives.
Okay.
That's what it means.
But I'm not going to, and I do that every day. I show up and I use power to change people's lives. What I don't do is center whiteness to accomplish
I'm not
it.
center whiteness, my sister. I'm not doing that.
But you
I'm
are.
saying, don't leave their
Folks,
go after them.
in the chat, let me ask a question. In the chat, you have heard him talk for the last 10 or 15 minutes. Is he centering whiteness? Yes or no? Let me know.
That's not right.
Listen, okay, so I don't care. So listen, this is where it matters as to whether or not you are teachable. This is where it matters, because it does not matter your intent. What matters is your impact. So I don't know what your intention is. I don't know what your intention is. What I can tell you is your impact. And your impact for the majority of the people that are hearing you, the impact is you are centering whiteness. And that is to Black ears, and that is to white ears. That is to folks on Facebook, folks on YouTube. White people are saying it, Black people are saying it. So my point to you is this: no matter what your intention is, the impact is the way that you communicate centers whiteness in your messaging, and it is not It is not. Well, I'm just going to tell you, for me, it is not working. It doesn't work for me.
Do you know what disparative impact is? Do you know what disparative impact is? I mean, disparate of impact. I mean, on the surface, I mean, it may not, what you're saying may not seem like it's centering white and hurting us and actually putting white, placating to white supremacists. You're having a disparative impact because the impact of what you're doing is going to hurt us, even if that's not what you are intending to do.
And it will prolong racism in this country.
Well, I don't mean to do that.
I'm going to.
Let me apologize, everyone.
No, hold on. Don't apologize for being misguided.
Oh, no.
So hold on. Let me just call out one thing.
I'm teachable. I'm teachable.
Okay, you're teachable. Be quiet for just a second. I'm going to call you out, and I'm going to say what I'm going to say, and I'm going to tell you the reason why I say I'm going to say what I say. You cosplaying as a black man because you said that how white people benefited from these systems. And then when you talked about the GI Bill, which historically only were given to black people in California, you said my people could not use that in Tennessee. Tennessee did not give GI Bills to black people in Tennessee. Secondly, the fact that you said white people were harmed during slavery, the enslavement and the breeding throughout generations of black people and indigenous people in this nation. You said white people were harmed. White people were harmed because they could not longer own property, which were black people. When you base your argument centered around that, that is called centering whiteness. And that is the most dangerous type of racism because you're reading the right books. You're voting the right way. You want to bring everyone along, but you can't see a system to where you can't have white people leading the charge. It's called a white savior complex. And that is very dangerous because this country has been white-centered since before its inception. And it has not helped black and brown people at all. And so that is why I'm going to speak for myself, and I can probably speak for Dani. You will never see us centering white people to lead the charge for change in this country. I don't care how many books you read. Nope. I don't care how many Ken Burns documentaries you watch. I don't care what you do. White people, whether you mean well or not, and there's a lot of good whites who are deconstructing, doing the right things, uplifting the people who can speak directly to the issues without censoring themselves. And so I encourage you, stop reading and start listening and digesting what is being said so you can destruct the white savior complex that the books that you have read has given you so that you can truly get behind the people of the community leading the movement that can speak to the issues on multiple different levels.
Well, I appreciate your comments and your constructive criticism of what I had to say in the manner I said that. But I'm not looking for a white savior any more than we have a white Jesus. All right, Christianity comes from Africa. Okay, and all I'm trying to say is that we are a Big Ten. You can't get if your racism is real. It's the foundation of this country. However, there are some good white folk out there who are being misguided. Wait, let me finish. Who are being misled. All right, and you don't want to leave those votes on the field. That's what I'm saying for that. But it's not just like white people. It's our gay brothers and sisters also, LGBTQI people. It's everybody. We are when black people do well, black people have changed this nation. All right, made the democracy happen. And we've only had real democracy in America since 1965, August 6th, 1965, when Johnson signed the Voting Rights Act, which he didn't want to sign, but Dr. King and the rest of them made him sign it, right? And it happened because of people dying. We ought to remember this week right now, Swarner, Goodman, and Cheney, right? We ought to remember that, okay? Brother James Jackson, so many other people gave their lives for the right to vote. Our people of color, we don't know that history, and we should know that history, okay? And white folk need to know the history also, because their freedom has been built on the backs of black folk. Of course I know about slavery. Of course I know about the demonic evil institution, right? And that there was a coalition of black and white people who got rid of it, all right? Of course I know that Abraham Lincoln didn't care for black people at all, okay? And that Frederick Douglass had to push him to it. What I'm saying is that Dr. King, don't take my word for it, Dr. King talked about bringing these poor whites into the fold.
Okay,
right?
so hold on.
Dr. King said that.
And listen, and Dr. King is not my daddy either. Listen, I just need to say something. Dr. King can say whatever. Dr. King was for Dr. King's time. Dr. King was during a time where there was a completely different type of economic structure in this country. We do not exactly, we do. And it's wild. And the reason racism exists is because a good majority of what we did is we changed laws. We did not change the hearts and minds of the racist South. We did not. And we didn't because we stepped over the racism to center them, to bring them into the fold. And my point is this time, I'm not stepping over the racism and I'm not centering the whiteness. I'm not doing it, and no one is going to do it. Either people will understand, right, that Black people, LGBTQIA individuals, LGBTQ people, elderly people, disabled people, that all people are actually equal and deserve humanity, or they can be broke as fuck and I don't care. Hold on, let me finish, because you are listening to rebut. You are listening to rebut and not to contemplate a single thing.
Okay.
And this is the thing that I am saying to you. Clearly, and I mean this with every fiber of my being, it is not about convincing white people that voting for the people that don't like Black people the way they don't like Black people is hurting them, brings them along. Let me just be clear. If you are racist, I'm fine with you staying fucking poor. Hear me when I say that. I am fine with you voting in a way that keeps your ass poor. For the rest of you who are willing to consider and to connect and to build community and to change your position and understand the value of all human beings, then by all means, I will have all kinds of conversations with you. I will help you deconstruct. We can move together forward, but I do not need you to fucking save me. There are enough diverse people in this country to move us forward with or without you. There are enough people that value all human beings to move us forward. I am not dragging anyone out of their racism. I'm not doing it. If in 2026, if you are still committed to being a racist ass, homophobic, transphobic, ableist, sexist human being, stay the fuck right where you are. There are too many other people that are willing to deconstruct and are ready to move forward, and I am ready to move forward with those people. Even the folks that are uncomfortable, even the people that are like, oh, I don't really know what I think about it. Great, I got room for you. But for everybody else, if the only reason you are willing to come along in this movement is for yourself, it's not my job to help you. It's not my job to educate you. It's not my job to bring you forward. Nope. Absolutely not. If the only reason you are willing to help me is to help yourself, and you're still going to be racist at the end of the day, do whatever you want to do.
Well, I agree with you on that.
If I can say one thing.
But you have to. People have to be able to redeem themselves, and we have to. Part of the problem is education. What you're saying here right now, you're educating so many people, right? And you're giving out such great information, so important. And I don't think we're really not saying. I may not be saying it exactly the same way you're saying it, I am not centering whiteness.
You are.
At all.
You keep saying you're not, and everybody is saying that you are.
Mel, there's something wrong with the way I'm communicating it. I got to do better than that in the future. Okay, at all. One thing you say about the white people down there, down south, if they don't like you, they don't like you. Down here up north, they smile in your face. Okay, and they act like they like you when they don't.
They smile in your face in the south too. I am from the south.
They're more honest down south. Okay, they're more honest down south. The white southerner. But I don't want to get into that point. Let me get to this point. Right now, you talked about this earlier. You've got the corporate Democrats and the progressive Democrats. Years ago, I called the radio show and I said to a congressman who was on the show, I said, "What are you going to do about the struggle between the progressive Democrats and the progressives?" You know, and they really ignored that question. Right now, I agree with you. The corporate Democrats understand that they're on the ropes, and that these progressive Democrats are winning. They're winning elections. They're winning the people over, and they may even win over some of these white folk who are voting against their own self-interest too, when they start understanding what's going on, and that's a good thing. But the problem is that the money is on the other side, and so I'm hoping that Mondami's candidates, and they were not for Mondami, they were for Cuomo's son. Right? They were for him. They were not for Mondami. Mondami guys act together. He registered about 1 million people, and that's what we have to do. We have to register people to vote and explain to them that your vote counts, and they wouldn't be trying to take away your vote if it didn't count, and to have hope and believe that things can change, because things can change. Things can get better. And yes, America's still racist to the core, but we can still save this country and thereby save the world. That's my belief.
Don't want to save it. Why should we save this country?
Okay.
You can't save a country that was built on racial oppression and violence.
Save this country.
Okay, stop for a moment, because I need to bring us back together for just a moment. So let me just say this, Pastor. I hope that you come tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am having a live with Rev Carla. And she and I will be here. We will be talking about religion and its impact on society and political environments. So I invite you to I hope that you come and listen to that. I'm gonna level set for a second, and then because I know everybody wants to jump in. I'm gonna go Jermaine. I'm gonna go AJ. I'm gonna go Jay. And then we'll come back and I'll circle back around. I know Existential, you wanted to pop in and say something. I'm going to ask everyone to listen, not to respond, but to listen to what is being said. 100%. And let me just start. I'm going to start with that. So everybody hold tight, put a pin right there. Jermaine.
Deep breaths. First off, we don't want to save this country. There's not this country is a country that was built off the genocide and enslavement of Black people. It is not worthy of being saved, right? You can't save a monster. You can't save a monster. You only have to eradicate it. And the one thing that really bothered me about what you said, what really disturbed me, is you do what I feel like the GOP does when they misquote and misuse Dr. King's name and some of the things he has said and done. Like, you say you read the book, Where Do We Go From Here? But I don't think you really you may have read it, but I don't think you actually studied it. It's one thing to read, but you have to study it. If you read that book was more so after the Voting Rights Act, when he understood that, hey, this is right here, this is a racist evil society more than what it is. Like, after the Voting Rights Act passed, he was like, that dream has turned into a nightmare. That's what he said, quote from quote. This man, Dr. King, was unalive because he challenged the racism and economic structure of this country when he spoke against the Vietnam War. So when he started to switch some of his analysis and evolve, that's when he was unalive. Like, I'm sorry. So let's be real specific on how we use and quote Dr. King, because he was unalive because of started talking anti-imperialism. He started talking about racial economic justice too as well. So let's be careful when we spew those kind of things. Like, you cannot You're completely ignoring. I feel like you're a racist. You're not a racist, but I don't want to just think about, are you anti-racist? You may not be a racist, but are you anti-racist? And those are two different things, because you keep centering whiteness at the end of the day. So what they're telling me to give off is that you may not be a racist, but I don't think you're anti-racist. Like, there's nothing redeemable about. We don't want to hold hands with racists. I'm sorry. I'm not even sorry about that. I don't want to. We move forward. We leave them behind. That is up to them if they want to catch up. I'm not holding hands doing a kumbaya with people who want to support genocide and racism slavery. It's like, I'm sorry. Like, let's be careful when we quote Dr. King, though, because that, out of all the things you said, was really bothering me.
So,
but I'll stop it there.
I want to say a couple of things. I absolutely desire to save the country. I just want to be clear about that, because for me, the country is not this institution or its government. The country is the people. Okay. So I absolutely desire to save the country, because the country is the people that make up this country. 100%.
From a government standpoint.
Yeah, but I'm providing clarity from my perspective. I've already addressed the whole burn it down bullshit. I'm not on board. I'm not on board, because I understand that the burn it down bullshit causes more harm for people that are already being hurt. The ultra rich in this country will survive burning it the fuck down. They've got enough money that it will not touch them. So I am not for burning it down. We no longer have a place where burn it down impacts everybody. It doesn't. 60% of the consumer spending in this country is done by the top 20% earners. We do not have this equitable landscape where everyone would be negatively impacted by strikes and boycotts and this and that. It doesn't. This is not 1965. This is not 1968. We do not live in that time frame anymore. And we must be in reality. We must take the lessons from the past that are applicable for where we are in this moment. And then we must use the other things that are necessary right now and today to move us forward. I am not interested in following what anybody else did. I'm just not. I don't need to. So listen, call me crazy, but it's wild to me. If I'm not mistaken, tell me if I'm wrong, but every fucking person I have heard quoted has been men. I am not interested in following a single path blazed by a man, because it has led us to the bullshit that we are in right now. No, thank you. I will let women do it this time. And I will let women of color lead that damn charge. And I will let our LGBTQIA community come flanked right alongside us, along with our disabled brothers and sisters. And we will move things in the right way forward. Because men have fucking failed us on every turn, regardless of the color of their skin. And I'm just being very clear when I say this. No, I don't care. I don't care who wrote a book. I don't care about a speech. I don't care about shit. Some of the only reasons you all wrote books and wrote speeches is because women weren't fucking allowed to. And had we would have done it better.
That's correct. You would have. That's correct.
So I'm just very clear when I say every bit of this right now. I am over it. I am so over it. Listen, I can be pro humanity, pro all people, and not center whiteness, and not center the patriarchy and masculinity. I can be pro Black and not be anti-white. I'm not anti-white. I'm just not centering your ass. And sometimes not being centered when you are used to everything revolving around you feels like exclusion, but it is not, beloved. It is just regular class participation. You are not the teacher's pet anymore. That's it. That's not exclusion. That's just not centering. You just get to have a desk in the classroom like everyone else. That's it. And that is the place that I am from. I am for absolutely everyone. And I'm not centering anybody. I am not centering. I will not make it about the majority. I will not make it about the majority groups ever. I'm not doing it anymore. Explode. I have a real job and I serve the government. So kiss my ass. How about that? So when we have these conversations, I can talk about the root causes of how we got to where we are and the things that exist 100% all day. I also am not Fennel's making everything into a fantasy. I'm going to deal in reality, and I'm not centering the groups that have been problematic as to where we are and how we got where we are. And I'm going to say this 10 toes down and on my chest. I have zero interest in bringing religion into my work. Nobody's religion. No, and no. Because what I know is that religion in government leads to oppression and the disenfranchisement of people.
Oh, that's white Jesus you're talking about. That's white Jesus.
No, that's Christianity I'm talking about.
That's white Jesus.
That's Christianity I'm talking about.
No, it's not. No,
that is Christianity I'm talking about.
White Christianity is.
That is Christianity I'm talking about.
No, but see, white Christianity okayed slavery. White Christianity okayed Jim Crow. White Christianity did that. Not the true.
So let me just tell you what you did. You literally popped your ass off mute because you were triggered by me talking about Christianity.
Yeah, but I want to talk about Mrs. Stanley Hamer first.
Yeah, but hold on. But let me just be clear. You literally, that's white. Listen, no, that's Christianity, period. Christianity.
She's right. She's right. If Jesus wanted to take over the government, he would have.
Thank you.
He said, give to Caesar what is his, give to the kingdom what is theirs, meaning you pay your taxes as dual citizens. He ain't say nothing about bringing Christianity into the government. White man did. And that is what people have been trying to do ever since. It's why we got so much turmoil now. That's why Manifest Destiny, this is what it is. Being able the God-given right to go and conquer the colors. No,
that's the white man's Christianity, though.
That is the Christianity that Black people practice. That is the Christianity that you practice.
No, the Christianity I practice is one of Black liberation theology that Reverend James Crone practiced, the one that Reverend Carter Adley practiced, the one that Dr. King practiced, the one that Mrs. Stanley Hamer practiced, the one that I could go on and go on. It's the practice of.
So tell me how your Christianity is different. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I do not want white Christianity, Black Christianity, purple Christianity. I don't want fucking Christianity, rainbow Christianity. I don't want any glitter, rainbows, and sparkles. And I do not want your Christianity or anybody else's religion in government.
When I say government, when I say this. It's agape love in action. It means that everyone has Medicaid for all. It means that everyone has housing. It means that everyone has food in their stomach, clothes on their back, shelter on their head. That's not me. That's the real Jesus in chapter Matthew.
And that is your Jesus for you.
No, it's the real one.
That is your Jesus for you. Stop that. Stop that.
It's not me.
Stop talking over me. That is your Jesus. There are millions of people that don't even believe in Jesus. And those people deserve health care. Those people do not need to hear about, nor do they care about agape love. Those people just simply want to exist as human beings. I have zero desire in centering somebody else's religion. I'm not centering whiteness. I'm not centering religion. I'm not centering Jesus. I'm not centering Mohammed. I am centering absolutely no one. And when you use language that is about one particular religion, you exclude other people. And you want to apply your perspective onto everyone else.
But can I just say this? The real Jesus of the Bible loves everyone equally. It's neither Jew nor Greek, bond nor free. We're all one.
No, okay.
This is the reason, and this is the reason, John. This is the reason why people give up on Christianity. As a Christian, this is a Christian speaking. You are doing more harm by not hearing what is being said to push your propaganda. And I say this as a Christian. She is saying, I don't care what you believe. You can believe in Bigfoot for all she cares.
Damn right.
If that's your religion, it ain't going in the government.
Correct.
Period. And you are fighting her on this to push your agenda. I believe in Jesus. I also believe heavily on the separation of church and state, because I know plenty of atheists who are amazing people, do well by people. I know plenty of Muslims. I know plenty of Baha'is. I know plenty of Hindus. I know plenty of people who have the same moral compass that I do, who are not of the same faith.
Correct.
And I want them to practice whatever they want to practice or not practice without the government telling them it's okay. And if you cannot understand that and stop with your propaganda, we've identified issue number 2.
No, you are, but you're not listening. Come on now. You're not listening.
Go ahead.
No, you keep saying go ahead, but you're not listening. You are literally not listening at all. Everything that people have said to give you feedback, you say, thanks for your feedback, but I'm not doing that. Right. Thanks for your feedback, but that's not what I'm doing. And what I am sharing with you is that you are in fact doing it. And in my humble ass opinion and my experience of you is the reason you are most likely centering whiteness is because of your Christianity. Because that's what Christianity does here. Yeah, those two things go hand in hand. Just so we understand, Christianity is what propped up slavery in this country.
I said that.
Exactly. Which is why it leads you to a perspective that centers whiteness.
But Christianity also helped destroy slavery. And you have to admit that also.
No, I don't. No, I don't, because slavery still exists. Slavery still exists. Christianity didn't get rid of shit.
Hold it. John Brown was a Congregationalist. Okay?
And the fact that you use John Brown.
Right.
The fact that you use
John Brown.
And not Nat Turner.
Yes.
The fact that you use John Brown over 30 years after Nat Turner as your example. When Nat Turner said that his creator and Kurt told him to fight back. You didn't use that, which was before John Brown.
But you know I know Nat Turner.
But you didn't use Nat Turner.
You're not right, though. You're not right.
No, we are. That's the problem.
Because I didn't use Nat Turner. Come on.
No, it's not because you didn't use Nat. It's because your default. Literally, your default was John Brown.
Right. And I find this happens a lot with people who are educated in the North. Because in the North, they center white saviors in their curriculum. And that is why you hear about John Brown and not Nat Turner. You think John Brown was the one that inspired Nat Turner and not the other way around.
No, I'm not. Don't say that. I didn't say that. You got Nat Turner. Nat Turner.
Where were you educated? In the North or the South?
I mean, you have a whole lot of people. There are revolts going on. My only thing is saying that.
Were you educated in the North or the South?
But see, Christianity did help.
No, John, I'm asking you a question. Where were you educated, in the North or the South?
I was educated in the North. However, by Southern parents. And by the way, talking about ministry, my mom wanted to be a minister but the black minister would not let her be one because she was female, which is wrong. And many women out-preached the men. So I and all that. But the point is this. I know racism exists. I know the history of racism also. I'm not against what you're all saying. Y'all think I'm all centering whiteness, all that kind of stuff. I'm centering humanity. It includes whiteness also, and my gay brothers and sisters. It includes also my Latino brothers and sisters, many of them right now who are being put in detention camps. Okay. It includes my Asian brothers and sisters, Pacific Asians, what we call them. It includes everybody.
So
abundant love means everyone
one race
has a right to life, pursuit, happiness. Everyone has a right to the abundant life. Black, white, red, yellow, gay, straight, poor, rich, everyone on this planet known as Earth. Right now in the Congo, you got kids over there who are digging, 5-year-old kids who are digging for cobalt right now, which were used in the machines we're using right now.
What do you stop?
For those kids
Stop for a moment. I'll tell you who. Like literally 8 days in this room, we were fundraising for Congo in this room, right? Not just talking about it. We literally here. This is a space. This is a space that is very aware of what is happening around the world and in this country.
But you don't call me an Uncle Tom.
This is nobody called you that. Nobody called you that. Nobody called you that. Now, if you listen, if
oh my God,
so what's wild to me is you're amused by the feedback. That's what's wild to me.
I'm actually hurt by it, you know?
Well, I don't know. Well, so instead of being hurt and deflecting with laughter, how about sitting in the discomfort for a moment, not defending what you're saying, and actually consider what people are saying to you? Because there have been 500 people in this room for a long time saying to you, you are centering whiteness in your verbiage. And you repeatedly keep saying, I am not. And what I am telling you is the impact of your words is to do exactly that thing. In this entire conversation, I have heard you center two things: whiteness and Christianity. That's what I've heard you center: whiteness and Christianity. And what I am sharing with you is that I am interested in neither. Not in politics, not in progression, not in activism and advocacy, none of it.
Well, I'm going to say one last thing, and I'm going to get off here. There's a book that all our young people need to read. It's called "What Color Is My World?" What Color Is My World by
You obviously drank the Kool-Aid. She's been talking to you for so long. I took a shower and came back, and you're still on the same rant. Can you please respect the host? She's telling you she doesn't like religion in her politics.
No, I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about
part of that don't you understand?
I bet you've named 10 books. So let me share. So okay, but so listen. Hold on. Listen, I hear you. I've heard you name at least 10 books. And here's what I will share. And I'm seriously, I want to offer you this. There is a disconnect between your intellectual knowledge of Black history and the application of said knowledge in the progression of Black people's lives. There's a disconnect between your knowledge and the application of said knowledge in the progression of Black people's lives.
Can I ask a question? John, are you from a biracial family?
No, but y'all aren't gonna like this one. But in America,
No. I'm not. No. We're talking about you for a second.
The slave master raped the Black woman. We're all mixed up.
Wait, John. We're not talking about. We're not. I didn't. I'm not one. Hold on. 1 second, Jonathan. I will never discredit someone from being Black from being from a biracial family. You Black.
Yeah, I'm biracial and Black AF.
Right. The reason why I asked that question is because it's giving, and it's giving. My father was Black, my mother was white or biracial herself, and they raised me in an uber Black household, but that was white centered in my ideology. So therefore, I hear conflicting narratives coming from the things that you're saying. You're centering whiteness, but being pro-black and thinking that the way you're pro-black and change the system is centering whiteness. That's why I asked that question. It wasn't to be disrespectful. I do not quantify someone's blackness. I don't care if you got 6 different ethnicities and races in you. You black.
Right.
So don't project that on me. It was a genuine question because I'm trying to get to the underlying of the hodgepodge of ideals that I'm hearing from you today.
Right. Yeah. And that I knew where the question was coming from. And so, yeah, I'm with you, Aaron, because for me, I hear you being very, very pro-black in the things that you say and centering whiteness in terms of the mechanism on how to achieve the things you want for black people. Like literally, you are so. Does that make sense? Let me just ask that question. This idea that we must bring along the poor white people with us in order for us to get where we need to go. That's centering white people as being the center of the progress.
Host, can I say something, host?
Yep. If you can you let him answer and then you go? Go ahead, One Race.
I was just saying you need a coalition of people. That's all I'm saying. I'm not centering your whiteness or anything like that. You need a coalition of people. That's how you win. Multiracial, multicultural, multi-ethnic. And yes,
it is important how we create the coalition.
And I just suggested that not to leave out your poor white people who have been taught racism, raised on the food of racism, and deprogram at least some of them.
No, but that's not what you said. Let me just share this. You didn't.
That's my fault.
So, but let me just say this.
Accept that.
Let me say this, because here's the point that you're missing. Okay. You said don't leave them out. We want them included. And the way to get them included is to show them how they are being hurt by the things that hurt black people worse. And that is centering them. The way that you just set up here with your, listen, and according to you, the way that you just set up here on my panel with your black ass and said white people were hurt by slavery.
I'm just saying.
Nope. Hear what I don't listen. Stop blaming what you're saying on other people. You just set up here with your black ass and said white people were hurt by slavery.
They were. Not like
no, and listen to me. No, and 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 no. No, that is the same thing as fucking Ted Cruz and them trying to say black people benefited from slavery because you developed skills.
Come on, you guys.
That is exactly what you are saying. That is exactly, it is the flip side of the same argument, and I am not here for it.
No, listen, it's economics.
No, so you know what? Economics is what, so listen, what's wild to me is you keep talking about the Southern strategy, but economics is what Republican Party used to fuel the Southern strategy. That is what they do. So listen, what did Lee Atwater say in 1981? Are you trying to get my live flagged? Are you trying to get my live flagged?
Sorry.
The fuck you doing?
You can't say N.
No, exactly. But that ain't all he said. And please, whatever you do, act like you got some damn sense right now.
You know, host, let me just say this. First of all, I want to say this right here because you talking about the whites were hurt because of slavery. They were the only ones that received reparations. Okay, we were promised reparations and we never received it. But so the slave owners that lost their quote unquote property, they were given reparations. Let's go. 100%.
That's
okay. So let's start there. And then all of a sudden you talk about form a coalition. You know, your method, black people have done it with the Italians, with the Irish, and everyone else when they first came here, and they weren't considered quote unquote white at the time. Okay. And what did that do? You know, the Irish and the Italians unfortunately, a lot of them are more, more racist than anything. But everyone that we've partnered with, okay, everyone that we quote unquote partners with and coalition with, they were able to ascend and become part of society, and they turned their nose up at us. So you're now saying, hey, let's get the poor whites in the same position that we've done with the Irish, the Italians, the Germans, the Asians, and even look at the Hispanics. The Hispanics right now, Trump did really well with the Hispanic vote. Even though he said, I'm going to hurt you guys, they still went out and voted for him because they voted their light complexion over, and they knew it was going to hurt us, but they voted their light complexion over what was going to help. They thought it was going to hurt us and help them. And so I just totally disagree with what you're saying. That's all I got to say. These coalitions that you speak of, we formed them in the past. They've never served us well.
Yeah. And so my point is simply this, Jonathan, and here's my thing. I am not working to form anything at this point. I am moving the ball forward, and whoever wants to join the movement can join the movement, right? So this is my thing. I'm not actively trying to go recruit white people to be part of anything, right? We are working to move things forward, and the white people who are ready and willing to get on board and deconstruct and do that will join, and they will do that. And finally, so listen, when you say host, your racism showed you said white and then you said Republican. I said white and Republicans because they were fucking white Republicans. They were white Republicans. Hence, they go together in the same descriptor. Get out of here with that. And I want to be clear, addressing white and Republicans ain't racist. And the fact that you think me saying white and Republicans is somehow a demonstration of racism tells me you have no clue what racism really is. Just so we're clear. Yes, baby girl. One moment, you guys. Yes, baby. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, and I got you.
It was wild. Every time we address racism now, we're accused of being racist. Okay, they want us to pretend that it doesn't exist, and if you address racism, you're the racist. You're playing the race card. You're doing all because you're addressing the behaviors or the actions.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah.
I'm just real clear about this. I will not mince my words. I will call a thing a thing. If you do not like it, then deal with it. Like that's literally all that is. You can either you're willing to sit in the discomfort. And let me and I say this, and this is something that I give to myself all the time. If something offends you, okay? If something offends you, great. That is your opportunity. That is a signal to you to figure out, why am I offended by this thing? So you can either dig in and figure out what it is about what is being said that bothers you, or stay in your aggressive will for ignorance. Either one is completely up to you and fine by me. But what I will not do is act like it's anything other than different. Oh, Sherry, I know it does. Sherry been here for a year. Sherry and I got a damn year-long anniversary because when she came up in here, she was 100% Trump. It's been a year, Sherry. Can you believe that? And she's been here ever since. And it's not because we didn't butt heads. It's not because I didn't challenge her. It's not because she whatever. It's because she was like, okay, I'm going to sit in here right now with this thing that makes me feel uncomfortable. And I'm going to go toe to toe. And I know it seems impossible, right? No, that's the lady that threw the stove was Southern accent, I think, is the lady that threw the stove. In case y'all don't know what I'm talking about, is there was a lady that came in here hot and heavy, like straight Trumper, straight Republican, straight whatever. And by the end of that conversation, I had on a plain baseball cap at the end, and she was like, listen, next time I come back, I want you to have a baseball cap that says repo on it. And I said, huh? And she said, yeah, I came in here to cook. She said, and you took all my dishes. She said, you just threw the whole stove away. Yeah, she was funny. But anyway, yeah. And let me just tell you all. So this is how I am 100% certain that we in this room and in this space know how to bring people into the fold, because we do it often. We just don't do it by centering the whiteness or centering the racism or the homophobia or any. We don't do it by centering that. We center it by how we do it by holding a mirror up and saying, this is what exists. And here's the difference. And here are the facts. And here's all of that. Right. Yeah. SoCal, I will deal with your ass in a minute when I'm ready for you. Because do you know what? Do you know where you're not in my box right now? Because you keep telling me to put you on the panel. You don't tell me what to do. That's not your space. You will get to the panel if and when I put you on the panel. And not because anybody's worried about you. If I'm not mistaken, I have kicked your ass a time or two already. But anyway, you're welcome, One Race. Okay, so real quick, I'm going to go, AJ's, let me go, Jay, and then come back to you. Okay? Jay.
It's fine. Hey,
Appreciate
how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. So the reason I invited you to the panel is you said that everyone in this room sounds racist. Can you share with me specifically an example of what has been said in this space that you believe is racist towards white people?
You know, honestly, Dani, as I've been sitting here for like the last 45 minutes, I was listening before I came up, and I made comments on the bottom saying this seems like a group of individuals that hate white people or that don't want to discuss, you know, the problems that this country has, and including white people in that. And I was, for some reason, I was really getting offended by that, and I felt like this room just wants to bash white people. But as I've sat here and listened, I'll honestly have to concede and say, no, I was incorrect on this panel and the room, because that's not what you guys are trying to do. And I guess when I was listening, I was just listening to respond, like you said earlier, to some other guests. And I was only listening to things that were triggering my emotions or my feelings, and not really listening to what you were saying. And so I just wanted to say I'm really pleased that I stayed, because I do enjoy your panel. I enjoy what you're saying. And I can honestly say, for the first time, I think I understand what is meant by not centering whiteness. Because before, when people would say that, I was offended. And I felt like you're trying to exclude us, and we're trying to help, trying to create a better place for us to live. But honestly, I think what you're trying to say, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is you're just not going to center whiteness or anyone unless they are also ready to move forward and have a better united country than what we are currently experiencing. And those individuals are who you're wanting to bring forth and together to unite and have a better future for this country.
100%.
That's what I just want to say. I really, and it just proves that in what you said, you have to listen to understand and listen instead of to respond. And I was at first wanting to respond really quickly and make judgments, and I apologize about that.
No, that's one. But so here's the thing. So things that I can say about you is that, like, I saw you pop up in the comments, and so when people do that, the same way I invited you up, most of them will not come to this panel. Right? So kudos to you, number one, because you did, right? Number two, you came to the panel and you didn't interrupt, you waited. And then the entire time that you waited, you listened. And that is the difference. So like someone like yourself, I would take in this room all day long, and I would have conversations with you about the Southern strategy. And I would have conversations with you about education and financial aspects and economics and housing and all of the things, right? I would do that with you day in and day, like just like that. And the reason why is because you are teachable, and you're like, oh, you know what? You're willing to be, I'm accountable for this, right? This is what I mean. I'm not going to center you, but now that you said, oh shit, let me go ahead and pull my chair up in the classroom. There's something to be learned.
Well, you know, it's like you said, everyone in the room deserves a desk. It doesn't matter your race, religion, background, ethnicity, any of that. And you deserve the same chance. So I really like what you're moving forward in this country and the platform that you have. And I'm going to start listening more often when I see you're online. Yeah. And I really appreciate that, because we need more people that can unite and bring this country together, because I'm 57, I have never seen it more divided than it is today. And it's really shocking to me that we're in 2026 and this is even a problem. So yeah. I really want to move forward with your thoughts and process, and I'm going to be listening a lot when I'm at work and things of that. I can't get on very often because of my job, but I will be listening. And if you can drop me down, I appreciate you.
Yeah, I got you. I appreciate you. I will offer you this. I'm 53. You're 57. I've seen it this bad. The difference is that it's not always as open. Right. So like literally, and we talked about this yesterday. I went to school in kindergarten, being called the N-word. My brothers too, right? And so the difference is that it is much more open today, and it's louder because of the internet. That's all. But I appreciate you so much, Jay.
All right, thanks.
Yep, you're welcome. So really quick, if I can get a mod announcement, I'm going to bring some folks up to the panel. It will not be SoCal, just so we know. It will not be you, because you don't know how to act like you got some damn sense. Ain't nobody trying to argue with you. And so I will be right back, folks, so we can dig into some things real quickly. Before I do that, let me just check real quick. I'm assuming not, because I haven't gotten a notification as to such. Okay, so we still only have 1, 2, 3. We still only have 5 decisions from the Supreme Court today. Okay, cool. All right, appreciate you, Cam. I'll be right back.
Sure. Take your time. I had a meeting, but it was very short-lived, so I am back. Obviously, good conversations happening. Thanks, everyone, for joining Dani's live today, and then thanks for all the panelists that are here today. Really good conversations that are being had. I'm sad that I missed part of it earlier today. So, hey, Lou. Hey, everyone. While Dani's away, if you can just go ahead and tap and share out the live. Right now, we only have, looks like, less than 200 shares, so there's enough people in this room where everyone can share at least 2 times, and we can get that shares up significantly, and Dani would love that. Also, please go ahead, in addition to tapping, share. What else am I missing? Yep, please send your daily heart me if you haven't already. You can do that by clicking on the little heart near Dani's name on the top left and sending her a daily heart me that shows TikTok, we're live and engaged. Hey, Witch. Hey, Michelle. Hey, everyone. Can't forget, or I'm probably forgetting something. So, but all good. Are you doing okay today, Dani?
I'm good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like today and yesterday were not. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's been a.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. It's gonna be okay though. But yeah.
All right.
Appreciate you.
I love you.
Yeah, I love you back. So for those of y'all who maybe are new to this space, let me share with you a little bit. So this is a really close-knit community. We get together in my Discord quite a bit, even outside of Discord. We do documentary viewings together. We do all of those different types of things. And then we also are engaged in Project for the People, which is what you heard me briefly touch on earlier. When you heard me touch on a timeline on how to move things forward and make things happen, there's a whole movement that is behind that. There's a whole collection of information and graphics and all of those types of things that go along with it. So, hey, Ghost, this is your caution. You keep spamming the comments. You need to stop doing that, or you will be muted. Okay. So right up here, it says no comment spamming. Stop saying the same thing over and over again, or you will be muted. Okay. Just so we're clear. Okay. There's a lot of work to be done, and that work has to be done in a variety of ways so that we can move forward. It is about building community, and that is having conversations that build connection by discussing the impact of the issues that are actually impacting us, predominantly in 4 different areas. That's healthcare, education, housing, and economic mobility. It's those 4 things. And yeah, Veronica, we probably need to do that this weekend. Yeah. So I tried, but there you go. Okay. Yeah, Veronica, we need to have a meeting for graphics. I did the numbers last night for folks. Ghost is gone. You guys already blocked. For those of you guys who do not know, in 3.5 months, we are sitting at about 1,200 of us that exist in the 48 states in this country, and we're in 497 counties in this country. 497 counties. There's only 3,100 counties in the country, period. It's a big deal as we approach that mark. And so we are more than 3 months. We're more than 4 months away from midterms. At a bare minimum, if we just double what we have right now, we will be a third. We will represent a third of this country. And the focus is about equity and all people. The focus is about progress. And let me just listen, when you bring up, when you elevate the folks that have been currently receiving the least, that means everyone else gets brought up and elevated at the same time. When Native Americans are elevated and their needs are met, when African Americans and Black and brown people are elevated and their needs are met, when that happens for LGBTQIA individuals and their needs are met, and disabled people and women, guess what happens? Then everyone does well. And so the focus has to be about how do we make it work for all of us without centering the majority and the groups of the individuals, those classes, those pockets, the class of people that have been, okay, Cam, do you know what time? Because I damn sure don't. Right. We're not trickling anything. We're not trickling anything down anymore. We're not trickling anything down. So just saying.
Trickle down is P, and nobody wants that.
Correct. Yeah. I'm not doing trickle down. I'm not. Not anymore whatsoever. So everybody, welcome into the room. If you are new to me, welcome. Glad that you are here. Really grateful for Aaron to drop in today. If you're not following Aaron, highly recommend that you do that. Wealth of knowledge, fact-based information, and we love to see it. Democrats are electing politicians that want socialism. Is that a problem? No. Jonathan, appreciate you for joining me as well as AJ. So AJ's, I'm going to give you a second to go ahead and address everybody. Folks, I'm going to start bringing more people up to the panel. When I bring you up, please put yourself on mute until I get to you. AJ, you are up. Appreciate you.
Well, I'd like to, you said that housing is important.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that too. I believe that people can't think straight when they're on the streets. And I want to have the opportunity to ask you, is it okay to play a 2-minute video about Finland that solved their homeless situation?
Yeah, I know that TikTok has been flagging videos lately. But maybe
don't play it.
Yeah.
I won't show it.
You're just going to play the audio? Cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you.
This is Finland, a cold, quiet country in Northern Europe, sitting between Sweden and Russia, right near the Arctic Circle. And this country has done something that almost no other country has managed to do. Homelessness is often considered a problem that doesn't have a solution, but Finland didn't just reduce homelessness, it practically ended it. And what makes this story even crazier is that Finland did it while most rich countries were getting worse. The United States, Canada, the UK, and France all were experiencing rising homelessness rates, but Finland went the opposite direction. Finland solved homelessness by changing one simple belief. Most countries treat housing like a reward. There are steps you have to follow in most of these countries, like get clean, get a job, fix your life, and then perhaps you deserve a home. Finland said that let's do it backwards, because if you don't have a stable place to sleep, how are you supposed to fix anything? So Finland created something called Housing First. The idea is simple. If someone is homeless, you give them a permanent home first, not a temporary shelter, not a bed for one night, not a program that kicks them out after 3 months. A real apartment, a door that locks, a kitchen, a bathroom, a place that belongs to them. And once the person is stable, Finland offers support like mental health help, addiction treatment, job assistance, and so on. But here's the key. They don't make support a condition for housing. Because Finland realised something most governments refuse to admit. Homelessness is not usually caused by laziness. It's caused by a mix of mental health issues, addiction, trauma, and economic collapse. And once someone falls into homelessness, the system keeps them there. Sleeping rough destroys your mind. Stress destroys your body. Shelters often feel unsafe, crowded, and chaotic. So Finland stopped treating homelessness like a moral failure and started treating it like a solvable systems problem. And the results were shocking. Not only did homelessness drop massively, Finland also saved money. Because it turns out that keeping people homeless is expensive, because there are emergency hospital visits, increasing crimes that cost temporary shelters and then court cases, a permanent apartment is cheaper than the chaos of the streets. So Finland didn't solve homelessness with motivation speeches. They solved it with one powerful idea. Before you fix a life, you have to give that life a place to stand.
Yeah. Yeah, Finland has a couple of things that the United States of America could benefit from learning. Their homelessness, their education system. I love the fact that they begin to teach children how to spot misinformation in the first grade. It's literally part of their curriculum. Crazy, right?
Yes, and as a bus driver, we pick up people and we call them the homeless children. And we take them to a school, a regular school, and they feed them with a lunch program, and we take them home. It doesn't matter how far away it is. It could be 30 miles or 20 miles from our district. And every district has half a dozen. They've split it up amongst all the schools in our state, so that if we have 10,000 kids, there are 10,000 schools that are ready to help these homeless kids, no matter where the school is. And the districts, the bus districts, since I'm a bus driver, we have to take care of these kids. Some of them are even handicapped, and we have to address that. Mm-hmm. So when November comes, Donald Trump has taken away the lunch program. These kids won't eat lunch anymore because we pick up their lunch and we pick up the kid. The lunch first in our hand, right? Then the kid. It's an amazing program. And this is going to be taken away. And this is what the midterms is all about. Stopping this bullshit. Stopping billions of dollars in weapons, sending them across the ocean to create economic disaster for countries instead of taking care of our own. And they have to, as politicians, they have to address both. They can't neglect one with the other. And for many, many years, schools have been the target point. Oh, the budget's not balancing. Well, let's take it away from the schools. They got a surplus. Well, why do schools have a surplus? Why does ASU right now have $60 million in their ASU is a university, Arizona State University, has 60, I think, or more $1 million in reserve in case of a downfall, in case of whatever. They have what you call a net, a safety net, to keep the institution going, no matter what, for years. And I find out that most big universities that have alumni have this. But schools, high schools and elementary, don't have that luxury. They're subject to their state representatives that keep them funded or keep them afloat. And of course, they're always begging for the voters around them to help with the bonds. And in our state, the bond people are getting sick and tired of pulling out the schools because the politicians have put that burden on the voter. And this is wrong. That should not be happening. And so basically, what I'm trying to say is homelessness is a problem. It's growing exponentially. It's getting worse. It's coming to sun belts because people can't risk being in the cold, so they come to sun belts, and the sun belts are suffering from all these burdens. And that's all I want to bring to your table today. Thank you for letting me play that video, because it makes a lot of sense that when you tackle a problem, you should make it, number one, no more homelessness, against the law, period. And if the person does not want to consent, well, fine, then he can be a lifetime homelessness, unless there's help with medical education and help in job finding. And it made a lot of sense when it said at the end, well, getting all these people off the street make money for their country,
Mm-hmm.
and it could make money for the state if we tackle it that way.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to address. Thank you, Dani, for letting me be here.
Yeah, 100%. Appreciate you. You know, I have literally heard, like back where I'm from in Tennessee, there were emails that were obtained via a FOIA with leadership talking about withholding benefits and services from people unless they were willing to get some sort of treatment or be hospitalized, including like withholding food even, right? Which I think is crazy. I think the problem with the United States of America is we do not see people as human beings. Here, sissy, Mimi, you need this? I don't know what's wrong with us. We just don't do, we don't do human beings first. We just don't. And we demonize, what is it, you guys, that it's called prosperity? I don't know why I'm going blank right now, but it's this idea, prosperity doctrine. It's this idea that somehow if you're poor, it's because something is wrong with you. What's up, Dugald? If you're poor, it's because you are less than, or you are evil, or you are whatever. It's this idea that, you know, a lack of wealth means that you should be demonized or punished or dealt with in a particular manner. And I can't stand it. Right. You did something to deserve it. Right. And so I can't subscribe to that. And I want to, how many of you all are aware of the memo that was put out by the Department of Justice regarding disabled individuals? How many of you all know the memo that I'm talking about? Drop a 1 in the comment if you do. If you know the memo that I'm talking about. It just came out in the last couple of days. Yeah, Cheryl, I know you do. I knew you did. It grossly misrepresents legal protections for disabled individuals and is raising a shit ton of red flags in the disability community. Now, what I'm going to do instead of reading the memo, because I don't like to amplify the misinformation, what I would like to do is read the response to the ACLU, because it has the accuracy regarding laws and and people with disabilities. Okay. So here's what it says. This is from the ACLU. The Department of Justice's Office of Legal Counsel, which is the OLC, has issued a memorandum that incorrectly purports that neither federal disability rights laws nor Supreme Court precedent enshrine the right of people with disabilities to live integrated lives in their communities instead of being segregated in institutions. It's really important for you all to understand that this memo goes against all legal precedent in terms of saying people with disabilities. It smells of let's lock everybody with disabilities away. Okay. So I'm going to read. This is Zoe Brennan Crone, Zoe Brennan Crone, who is the director of the Disability Rights Program at the ACLU, had the following response. So listen to the ACLU's response. Trump's Justice Department cannot erase federal laws and decades of legal precedent with a single opinion. The memo itself acknowledges that it is, quote unquote, out of step with long-standing and consistent federal court opinion interpreting what the Americans with Disabilities Act and Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act require. But it is far worse than that. This is a blatant attempt to undermine the rights of disabled people. Quote, nearly 3 decades ago, the Supreme Court in Olmstead v. LC recognized a right to live in the world and also recognized that state and local governments have an obligation to end the long and dark history of segregation and institutionalization of disabled people. Hold on. Olmsted confirmed that disability rights laws require states to provide people with disabilities with services in an integrated manner in the communities. For far too long, disabled people faced neglect, isolation, and inhumane conditions in institutions. Olmsted made clear that this segregation must end. The DOJ's statement is wrong on the law and does not change the rights of disabled people. The right to live in the community is foundational to disability rights laws. We won't stop fighting to protect it. So here's what I'm going to say to folks who care about folks with disabilities. Number one, you might want to go ahead and start contacting your state and appreciate it, Jonathan, your state and federal representatives on this matter. It is critical to protect folks with disabilities and the integrated services that they deserve to have. All right. We are not going back to a time where people with disabilities were institutionalized and were harmed and experimented on and all of that. That's not happening. And if you want another reason to vote progressive come November, this would be it. This would be it. I don't know what this administration has to do, what is left for them to do, so that you all understand that they are targeting marginalized groups and they intend to cause harm. So all you have to do is type in DOJ memo disabilities, and that will take care of it for you. It will bring up everything that you need to know about it. But basically what the DOJ says in this memo, okay, is that yes, legal opinion and court precedent says that they are wrong. They believe that states and the federal government are not required to help people with disabilities live in their homes and live within their communities. Guys, I already blocked them, chocolate drop, and that sort of thing, and they would be incorrect. Okay. And so just throwing that out there for everybody. Okay. All right.
I would like to tie it back to the Department of Education, because the Department of Justice and the Department of Education are the two departments that protect civil rights.
Yep.
It was expanded upon by Jimmy Carter after the American Disabilities Act and the Civil Rights Act, which expanded protections. So by them saying, and people forget about, I think it's Alvarez, I always get the A mixed up. 1972 Supreme Court decision that said that no one has the right to an equal education. States only have to provide a rationale. And now you see the Trump administration picking up that Supreme Court precedent of you're on your own, this rugged individualism. Do it yourself, pull yourself up by the bootstraps, even though boots don't have straps, to justify the pulling back of all these services and with the dismantling of the Department of Education and the Civil Rights Department. What recourse do you have? Mm-hmm. After this administration, RFK talked about putting people with ADHD and other disabilities on a farm.
Correct.
The dehumanizing language that this administration does, and what Trump has done has been documented, especially to his own nephew. It's sickening.
Yeah, and so this is the thing. So let me put some guardrails on this conversation. Number one, don't start talking about being scared. Channel whatever fucking fear is coming up to you into a different emotion that allows you to take action and move the fuck forward. So that would be number one. Number two, understand that this will get defeated in court 100%, but you're not going to sit back and rely on just that, right? You're going to take action on this end. And it is ensuring that you get people in office. Ask people that are running for office, what do they think about this memo? Where do they stand on this memo? if they are running for office in Congress, what do they desire to do to ensure, and what are they willing to do to ensure protections for people with disabilities, right? These are the conversations. No, listen, I can't say this enough. Do not use the words I'm scared of, I'm fearful of, I'm worried about. None of that shit. None of that shit. Okay, I cannot say this enough. It is 100% about moving in a different direction and being mobilized and taking action. Yes. Yeah, you and Dominic will have to work together and I can help you facilitate it. But you want to bring me a bowl and the milk, I will help you pour it. Okay, so appreciate you for chiming in, Aaron. What's up, Erica Shante? I see you down there. What am I doing right now? Okay, so I'm gonna go up the line. I'm gonna go Southern. Before I go, no, they're up in the cabinet, and Dominic might have to reach it for you if you can't reach it, sissy. Okay, right. I'm facilitating your cereal. Shut up, Amy. Yeah, you know, I'm over here. Right. Oh, I knew you'd be pissed, Cheryl. I just need for other people to channel that. So listen, anytime you are feeling scared or hurt or whatever, it is really important to be with that emotion for a minute because it's valid. It's a valid response, right? But then you have to transfer that emotion, transmute that emotion into something different that is beneficial. Because fear does not serve you. It can be the catalyst to a different emotion that serves you well, right? But in and of itself, that's not the thing that does it. Okay? All right. So let me go Southern chick, then I'll go Paul, and then so forth and so on. Hey there, Southern. How are you?
Hey, love. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. I had muted myself, so I wasn't really sure. I don't know if you remember the last live I was on with you. I was in your box, and that was, I think, before the actual voting took place.
Yeah.
And I've been following you on Facebook and on TikTok as well, and I have just been so educated by all the topics that you have touched on that I actually was just living life and not paying attention. And, you know, I was on the line because, you know, I was a conservative and I was on the Republican side, and just being able to listen to the topics that you touch base with actually put me on the other side. It actually opened my eyes to what's going on because I am disabled. And I read the article that you were just talking about. And, you know, just everything that's been going on since Trump took office has totally changed the way I look at everything. And that's big for me. And, you know, my whole TikTok was based upon Republican, Trump, this, that, and every new video that I make, it's about nature, about people, about feelings, about different religions. Every one that I make, I delete an old one.
I love that.
And so just being able to, you know, come to terms with all the homelessness, because I'm out in the Midwest and I've been, you know, I live around a lot of Native American tribes, and just hearing about the people that go missing, and especially the women, and what nobody is doing anything about. And so I've been able to actually experience a lot of this. We have a lot of homelessness out here. And so I was blessed with a restaurant. My son bought a historical building, and we have decided that this is not the end. What we make here, we're going to actually buy and try to actually open up a shelter for homeless people here in our community. And we've done several, we call them homesteads, to where we have food available at all 24/7 in these little boxes that you can go and get, whether it be water or it's just opened my eyes up to a lot of things in the community, because out here we have the homelessness, we have the Native Americans, a lot of disabled people here. And so with just touching base with that, it just has changed my whole aspect on what this administration is aiming for. So it has, you know, I am a Christian, and then that even had me second guessing how good of a Christian have you been, you know, when you've ignored the needs of others, you know, and the things that are going to be, you know, like I'm disabled, if they try to throw me in a camp, well, I have no fear, because that's not going to happen. You know, I will fight tooth and nail for not just myself, but for anybody else that's going to be impacted with that. And that's the thing, is people want to turn their eyes and just basically focus on their own life. And learning the things that I've learned over the last several months, this life is just not about yourself. It's about everybody around you, whether they are gay or whether they're, you know, trans, or everybody should be loved and everybody should be accepted. And I know from fact, because I have family members that are gay, and I have 2 that are transitioning, and they actually had to move out of their state to get, you know, they had to leave from Alabama to move to a state that's more accepting of their lifestyle. And I thought, how heartbreaking is that they had to leave everything that they knew and to relocate somewhere else where they felt safe, when they should have been able to feel safe in their own community.
Right.
And so with all of that happening, you know, I could never go back to the side that I was raised to be on. And like you've always said, it's not about Republican, it's not about Democrats, but to me, being raised Republican and being surrounded by Republican people, and hearing about liberals and this and that, it's not about that. It's about humanity, and it's about all the things that is taking place to where it's impacting so many different people in so many different lifestyles. And I just don't think that I could ever go back to being the way that I was raised.
Yeah.
And you helped me see that. And that's the one thing I thought, you know, when I first came across you, I thought, well, you know, because I was in that mindset, like, you know, I am conservative, I'm Republican, that she's lost her mind. But, you know, the more I listened and the more I saw the topics that you were touching, and then I actually started looking around and saying, you know, I am a Christian. So in order to be a full-blown Christian and you truly believe, then all humanity matters.
Yeah.
And you have to accept and be able to love an individual, no matter what status they are, whether they're poor, they're rich, whether they're homeless or whether they're gay, whatever. You have to love them and you have to accept them. And that was the biggest eye opener for me, you know, and I want to thank you for that. And I want to thank you with the audience that you have, because without you guys, I would have never opened my eyes to what I've been seeing.
Well, so kudos to you for showing up and listening and being open, and then continuing to do the work. One of the things that I talk about in this space a lot is that I'm never attached to the outcome. So like when I spend time with somebody, like I did with you, like I did with Sherry or Felix or whomever, I'm never attached to, is this going to make a difference, or what are they going to do after that? I can't. Because if I focused on what will someone do or what they won't do, it will impact my willingness or my ability to be in the moment and to give everything I've got. My only responsibility is to be in the present moment, and do the absolute best and most that I can in that moment, and then allow that to take root and do whatever it's meant to do, you know? And so I appreciate you coming back and sharing. Because it's helpful. Like while I'm not attached to the outcome, it is really helpful when you know that it turned out great. or that it manifested something. You know what I mean? But this is what I really want people to take away. It's this attitude of when people are like, but what if it doesn't? Listen, all I know, and I'll bring this back to like Project for the People and what we're doing right now. I don't know if it's all going to work in that 2.5 year, 3 year timeline. I can't be promised that. I don't know. But what I know for sure is it won't be because of a lack of effort. It won't be because I didn't, like, at the end of the day, I will have left it all on the field, right? And then after that, no matter what it is, I know I will have zero regrets. And that's the part that is my responsibility. I can't control anything else except for that part, you know? So I appreciate you sharing that. So if I could make a couple of observations, and because since you're now in the work, I will never forget when I first started really digging into allyship for LGBTQIA individuals. And I was on a live one time. This is back before I was on TikTok or anything. And I was just on Facebook. And I was talking and I used verbiage that I thought was appropriate. Appreciate you, Steve. And so I was talking and I just said something about lifestyle, right? Thanks, Jonathan. Right. And immediately my friend Jamie hit me up afterwards. And Jamie, she's gay. And Jamie said, it's not a lifestyle. And I said, huh? And she said, it's not a lifestyle, it's a life. She said, a lifestyle is being a gym rat or going hiking, or you like to camp all the time. Like a lifestyle is something that you just choose. And she was like, I don't choose. This is just my life. It's a life, not a lifestyle. And as soon as she said that, it just went, it just set. And I was like, got it.
I think it's all about evolving, and people, I mean, it's just like everyday life. Everything changes. Mm-hmm. So why can't people accept the changes as time goes? Yeah. And I think that's where a lot of mentality is people don't like change. They want to stay exactly the way things are. And that's just not the way life is. And I think that's what changed me as well, is you can change your mindset. You can change the way that you look at things. We're able to change our clothes every single day. Why can't we change our mind?
100%. And even if I don't agree with it, I don't have to agree. I actually don't agree or disagree. The only thing that I can disagree, so let me be clear about something, folks. It's not about whether or not you agree with what someone else's life is. The only thing that I can judge, so to speak, about anything else is, does it work for me? And let me tell you how serious I am, not to like overly share, but to overly share. I'll tell you how serious I am about checking myself. Is I literally said, okay, well, how do I know for sure? Am I gay or not? Right? And I literally asked myself, what do I think about women? This is how you know I'm not gay, because I had to ask myself about it. But listen, so this was the thing for me, right? Is I thought about like a woman. I can see a woman and be like, gosh, she's so pretty. Like, that's a beautiful woman. If I was a dude, that's someone I could date, right? But I've never seen a woman and been like, oh, she could get it. Right? That's never been it's not a reaction that I have. You know, and so that was for me was, let me just make sure I'm good, as if I wouldn't know, you know what I mean? But literally I was like, let me just check in with me. Is there anything that I didn't explore because of however I was raised? You know what I mean? But no, the door just swings one way. It's all I got. But I'm good. Right. Oh, listen, girl crushes are girl crushes and guy crushes are guy crushes, but I'm just saying, right? So for me, it's about, I don't have to understand, because I don't even know that, I don't know that I can fully understand. You know what I mean?
We can't, because and that's the thing. I mean, of course I'm not gay, but I'm okay with anybody that is gay, because even though it's not my lifestyle.
It's not your life.
Life.
It's not your life. Yep.
You taught me on that one. Life.
Yep.
And I'm glad you corrected me on that. Doesn't mean that I can't love somebody that that is their life.
Yeah. And so for me,
I would say,
go ahead, Aaron. Go ahead.
I would say, I don't understand quantum physics. It doesn't mean it's not real. For those who study it, live it, breathe it, I respect it. Do your thing.
Yes.
But I want to make sure you have the right to study quantum physics, to love quantum physics, even without me understanding it. And like when I have had to break it down to some very big people in my family.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, well, when you put it that way, I'm like, exactly.
Yeah.
You don't have to understand it. Like, I'm a cis-het woman. I will never, quote, understand same-sex attraction. And it's for me to understand.
Shit, I don't understand opposite sex attraction. I look at men sometimes and go, what the fuck are we attracted to?
Like, why?
I don't understand any of it. I think we lost Southern chick.
Right.
But you know what I mean?
If you get to that understanding, like, you don't have to understand it to respect it.
No.
To respect people. When you see people for people, that's it.
Yep. And do you know
what is it? RuPaul says everything is drag. Anyway, you're dressing up and you're putting on a face for other people. It doesn't matter. But what matters is, are you edifying the person in front of you?
Yep.
Are you making their life full? Are you lifting them up? Are you helping them along?
Yep.
If you're doing that, then guess what? You'll have peace not only in your heart, but peace in your community.
Yep. 100%. And I'll share this with you as well. And for you guys over here, hold on, TikTok, YouTube, Substack, Twitch, and Facebook. I'm about to wrap it up on this side of the house. I'm still going to be on TikTok. So if you want to come over here into the TikTok world, you are more than welcome to do so. I just have to start to be mobile. And with TikTok, I'm on my phone, so I can move about with TikTok. I can't do that with you all. So if you want to stay part of the conversation,